Cassius, I am pissed, annoyed that Caroline kissed me during a red moon. That is not all. I'm also enraged that she didn't listen to me. She could have gotten seriously hurt. She seemed to think that the darkness would spare her just because it was a part of me, but I knew that was not the case. That side of me did not have a conscience. It acted how it wanted to without a care in the world, leaving me to pick up the pieces. Caroline looked hurt that I didn't want to sleep with her. She didn't realize that I was scared that my darkness would take over my body once more and have all the control while I pleasured her body. I wanted to be in complete control of myself when I finally got to claim her, as I should have done from the beginning. Caroline belonged to me and only me. I did not want to share her with anyone, including the darker side of me. She was my woman, to love and protect, to hold and pleasure. "Do you not find me desirable?" she whispers as her lips tremble. I frown. Now why the f*** would she think something like that? Has she ever taken the time to look in the mirror? "I never said that," I growl. "Why do you always take my words and turn them into something else?" She folds her arms stubbornly. "You do not have to spare my feelings. You've slept around with other women quite easily, including that witch who tried to kill me and control you. Yet, you do not wish to do it with me. Damn it. I didn't want to think about that bloody witch right now. I still had to make her pay for what she did. I also did not want Caroline to think that I did not desire her. But the stubborn woman never listened to a word I said to her. Even if I tried to explain my reasoning for turning her down, she would not listen to me. I am not trying to spare your feelings, I assure her. But tonight is not the right time. I already explained to you that my darkness has much more control on nights like this. She narrows her eyes. You seem to have more control despite your words. I think you're just using it as an excuse. You do not want me. Just say that. Was she intentionally trying to piss me off tonight? First, she didn't listen to me about leaving and placed her whole life in jeopardy. Now, once more, she did not want to listen to me about keeping our distance from each other. Touching Caroline always made me lose control of myself. She didn't realize that the darkness could gain control once more if I agreed to sleep with her tonight. I had to reason. I couldn't let my feelings get in the way of her safety. I could live with myself if she stayed upset with me for one night. I could not live with myself if I gave in to her request and ended up harming her. Think what you wish. I will not be touching you tonight, I growl. She didn't look hurt this time by my words. Instead, she had this strange look of determination on her face. Did she truly think she could get me to change my mind over? What the f***? I was sure that she could hear the alarm in my voice. She had to stop this madness before I gave in to the temptation. I dropped something on the ground. She says all innocently, even though it is obvious what she is doing. I couldn't take my eyes away from her. "What the hell is taking you so long?" I ask when a painful minute goes by and she still hasn't moved from her seductive position. When another minute goes by and she wiggles her ass in front of me without changing her position, I know that I have to stop her on my own. Without thinking twice, I walk over to her, grab her by her waist, and pull her toward me. "Let go of me," she snaps. "No," I growl as I pull her even closer. Her scent hit me hard. For some reason, her scent was much stronger today than on other days. I can't resist grabbing her ass. She gasps when I squeeze hard. "What are you doing?" she demands. I can hear the breathlessness in her voice. "Helping you find what you were looking for," I say. She narrows her eyes. "Is this a joke to you?" I chuckle without any humor. "A joke?" I demand. "What about this seems like a joke to me? You are the one taking things too lightly. I explained to you that your life is in danger the longer you stay with me tonight, and instead of running like a sane person would, you choose to stay here and taunt me with your body." She looks unfazed by my outburst. "My body taunts you?" she asks. "Are you sure about that?" She whispers. "Be very careful," I warn her. "Do not tempt me." She doesn't look scared as she leans down and licks my chest. This. There was no use trying to protect someone who didn't want protection. I don't wait for her to tease me anymore. Without a second thought, I grab her hair and pull it backward. Before she can say anything, I cover her lips with mine. Just like all the other times, I can feel my control slipping away. However, I fight hard not to let the darkness take me over. I need to stay in control for Caroline's sake. Besides, I wanted to be myself when I claimed her. I did not want the darker version of myself to be with her. It was a strange feeling. I couldn't believe I was envious of myself. It was just another version of me. Why did it bother me so much? She tightens her hold around my neck as I deepen the kiss, forcing my tongue into her mouth. Her actions drive me hungrier. I want her more than I've wanted anything else in my life. I was a changed man because of her. I've only ever wanted one thing, and I could no longer see myself wanting it as long as I had her. "Oh, Cassius," she whispers, "you have no idea just how much I love you. You have no idea what I will do to always be by your side. You make my heart beat like no other person in my life. Thump, thump, thump." It was all I could hear pounding in my ear. My heart was uncontrollable because of her words. She loved me? Did she really? Or was this a crazy lie to make me fall more under her spell? "I want you to be the only one to have me like this," she promises me. "I will never let another man touch me. My body and heart belong to only you." Thump. There was no turning back now. I was no longer in control. My heart was instead Cassius. She was in love with me. I could feel my body react to her words in a way it had never before. Was this what true happiness felt like? Was this what it meant to fall for a woman, to want to give your heart, body, and soul to her? I could hear my heart scream in exchange for her words. If it could jump out of my chest and go to her, it would. I didn't think I would ever hear these words from a woman before, a woman who was not related to me in any way or form. Her confession had made me completely hers, and she didn't even realize it. I need to be gentle with her. This was Caroline's first time. She trusted me. I could not let the monster inside of me take advantage of her, even though she was the one offering herself to me. "I need you to promise me that you will stop me if it becomes too much for you," I tell her as I change our position. Her eyes were wide and not with fear, and she looked surprised that I had actually agreed to do this. Does she not realize that I am a man? And I'm standing next to the most beautiful woman I've ever laid my eyes on before. What was there to be surprised about this? I've been starving for her since the moment I first laid my eyes on her. I've always wanted her, even though I tried hard to deny it at first. My body has always wanted to claim her as my own. I am surprised that I have lasted this long. I still haven't responded to her earlier words, and I don't know how to do so. I can sense that she's waiting to hear me say something other than comment on her body. "As long as I live, no one will ever come close to you," I promise her. "You will always belong only to me. Even if I die, I still claim you as mine, Caroline. You are mine. Forever." It wasn't an "I love you," and as much as I loved hearing her tell me that she was in love with me, I was not ready to say it back to her. There was too much in my mind to admit my feelings. I needed time to process all of this. For now, my actions would tell her how I felt. I think she already had a clear idea. She trusted me a lot more than I trusted myself. "Please hurry," she begs. "I ache for you. My body wants to be one with yours. Please, Cassius." I placed a hand over my tummy and felt myself overcome with emotion. This was what it felt like to love someone more than yourself. Their happiness was yours. He was scared that he would hurt me, but he did the exact opposite. Nothing has ever felt that good. I knew that last night would forever be locked in my memory. Nothing will ever be able to remove it. What the hell? My eyes widened when I realized that we had company. Cassius immediately covers my body with his. "If anyone looks at my mate, I would remove your eyeballs." Cassius threatens them. My cheeks feel hot as Atticus, Autumn, and Clarissa look over at us in total shock. I can't believe this is what they've been doing the entire night together. Clarissa gasps. No wonder Caroline wanted to be alone with our brother. I can't help but blush at her words. "I think we should give them some privacy," Autumn whispers as they turn to leave. "Wait," I say. "Can someone get me some new clothes?" I didn't want to tell them that Cassius had torn them last night while his darkness had full control. However, I didn't need to say anything. They could clearly see it for themselves. I cover my face with my hands. This was embarrassing. Even though last night was amazing, I knew that the battle was far from over. It had only just begun. Caroline. It's been a few days since Autumn found me in the cell. Ever since then, Cassius has still been locked in that cell. I tried convincing the others that they could trust him, but they still wanted to be safe. I had informed everyone that the spell was now broken, but Atticus and Damon were concerned about their wives. They feared this was just a trap and Cassius would kidnap and try to control them the second that they let him out. I could not blame them for thinking this way. My mate didn't have the best records. I mean, he kidnapped my sister at one point, and then he also did the same to me. But he has been a changed man since then. He has proven to me time and time again that he was no longer like that. "You don't look so well," Autumn tells me. I can see the concern in her face as her eyes scan my face. This wasn't the first time she's mentioned this to me. How sick did I look to her? Other than feeling anxious while waiting for them to let Cassius out of the cell, I have also been feeling a bit under the weather recently. Oh, how I wanted them to just listen to me and let my mate out. It was on my mind constantly, and I had a good feeling that I was feeling this way because of the guilt inside of me. I hated knowing that I was out here while Cassius was locked in there. He insisted that he didn't want me in there with him, to my disappointment. I fully believed that Cassius could leave that cell if he really wanted to. I assumed he was pretending that he was trapped so that he could stay close to his sisters. I can tell that he enjoyed having them around. I have been feeling like throwing up recently, I confess. Autumn frowns. "Really?" she asks. "Do you want me to get something for you to help with that?" I shrug. "You know what will help greatly?" I ask her. "You convincing Atticus to get Cassius out of that cell." She sighs. "Believe me, I have been trying my hardest. My husband does not trust my brother just yet. But do not worry. With time, I am sure that I will get him to let Cassius out. He always ends up doing exactly as I wish." I'm about to say something else when that uncomfortable feeling in my stomach resurfaces. "Is everything okay?" Autumn asks, noticing that I was covering my mouth. "I'm not sure." I tell her as I try to swallow. "I think we should get you some medicine to help with that." "I keep getting cramps as well," I inform her. "I don't know why I'm feeling this way." Autumn's eyes widen suddenly. "I think I may have a very good idea," she tells me. I quirk a brow. "Which is?" Her eyes are suddenly filled with excitement, and I am not sure why she is acting this way out of the blue. "Do you remember what I walked into just a few days ago?" she asks me. I shook my head. "I cannot say that I do." She laughs. "Well, I doubt you used any protection on that day." My eyes widened at the direction this conversation was heading. There was no freaking way that I was pregnant from having shocks in just one night. Yes, we slept together multiple times that night, but that should not count. Obviously, the last thing I was thinking about was getting pregnant from all the pleasure Cassius was giving to me. "Do you really think I could be pregnant?" I ask her as worry begins to seep in. There was too much happening in my life right now. It was the worst possible time to become pregnant. "There is one way to confirm it." She lets me know. "I can have a doctor over here in less than an hour." A wave of nervousness washes over me, tightening my stomach and quickening my heartbeat. As I stand completely motionless, I am hit with many thoughts. A battle raged within at this moment, and I knew if I truly was pregnant, I could not hide the truth from myself for long. The uncertainty was suffocating, but I knew that facing the truth now would give me enough time to prepare. "Call the doctor," I confirm. "I need to find out the truth, and I don't want to waste any time." I've never seen Autumn fly out of a room as quickly as she did now. The thoughts continued to race inside of my mind now that I was alone in this room. I knew that the last thing Cassius would want right now was a baby. I hated the thought of him rejecting our child before even considering the happiness and joy he or she could bring. Ugh, Caroline, what were you thinking? I wasn't thinking, not on that day. All I wanted was to have my mate inside of me. I shiver at the reminder of that night. "Pregnant?" I ask myself. "You can't possibly be pregnant. There is no way. This is just some kind of simple mistake. The test would most definitely be negative. I am sure of it." Caroline. Pregnant. It was just one word, but it had a crazy effect on my body. All at once, I felt so many emotions. fear, excitement, worry, happiness, love. There were so many feelings racing within me. I did not know how to control myself. The doctor had just confirmed that the test had come back positive. I was still having a difficult time believing it was true. A part of me still thought this was all just some kind of silly mistake. "Congratulations," he repeats. "You are pregnant." I'd heard him the first time. He didn't need to keep repeating those words for my benefit. Did he not realize that I was internally freaking out? I was sure that the expression on my face could freely give away all of my emotions right now. "I knew it," Autumn gasps. She begins jumping up and down in joy. I could not even look at her. This was not the time to be celebrating my being pregnant. How could this be a celebration? Does she know her brother at all? I was just getting him to open up to the idea of having me in his life. How much more difficult would it be to get him used to a baby? "I promise you that we are all here for you," she says as she hugs me. "I am so happy for you, Caroline. This is a blessing for our family." I can't even return her hug. I was still frozen in my spot. Autumn was the only one in here with me, and that is how I wanted it to be. I specifically asked for only her and the doctor to be with me. I did not want anyone else in here with us, because I wasn't sure how I would react to the news. Now that it was confirmed, I didn't know what to do with this news. Was it even safe to tell Cassius? I trusted him, but I had a deep fear of how he would react if I told him about it. He already was fighting his hardest against the darkness within him. This pregnancy announcement might very well throw him over the edge. "I do not know what to do," I confess. "I don't think your brother will take this news very well." She stopped celebrating as my words finally hit her. I don't think Autumn was even thinking about her brother's reaction to this news. I can tell by the sudden shift in her mood. "You are right," she whispers. "Cassius doesn't exactly look like the type who wants to be a father, does he?" I take a seat on the chair as the doctor quietly excuses himself. I needed to stay seated before I fell to the floor from the shock of it all. Standing was not a good idea right now. In fact, I think I might take more than a week to recover from this. "How could I have been so reckless?" I ask her. "I should have realized that there was a possibility that I could have gotten pregnant. I wasn't thinking, and now I don't know what to do with this news." Autumn tries to comfort me as she gently pats my shoulder. "I know that this news may be shocking to you, but I believe that Cassius will eventually be happy to learn that you are pregnant with his baby. Maybe not right away, but once he gets over that initial shock, he will support you in every way he can." I could tell that Autumn was just trying to say whatever she could to make me feel better. I don't think even she believed those words. Should I keep the truth from him until I was sure that it was the right time to tell him? That may be the best decision right now. Cassius was not in the correct state of mind to learn something so life-changing. I place a hand over my tummy and feel a new kind of warmth hit me. I don't think I've ever felt this protective over something I've never seen before. These feelings were also very new to me. "I know you're scared," Autumn whispers. "You may be unsure of many things right now, but I fully believe that Cassius will never hurt you or your baby. He will protect you like he's always done. I saw firsthand that my brother would rather hurt himself than hurt even a strand of hair on your body. I believe he would act the same way for your baby, his baby as well." I believed her, but he was definitely not ready to be a father. There were so many relationships to fix. I still had to convince my mother and everyone back home that Cassius was not the enemy. If they knew that he had gotten me pregnant, they would freak out. I could imagine how much more hate they would feel for me. The gossip would spread like crazy. My eyes widen as a new kind of fear settles within me. Cassius may not hurt our baby, but there were people in this dangerous world who would want to get rid of our unborn child just because the father was a Rain. Everyone was already terrified of my mate because he was a Zyrane's son. How would they react when they knew Cassius had a baby on the way? No. I had to make sure that no one ever found out. I had to protect my baby no matter what. "What's wrong?" Autumn asks as she picks up on my fear. "No one can find out that I'm pregnant," I plead with her. "Only those that we fully trust." I can almost see the instant awareness wash over her face, the way her eyes widen in surprise and her mouth forms a small O of shock. It's as if the weight of the truth suddenly presses down on her, and in that very moment, she begins to feel the same fear that I do. She holds my hand and squeezes it lightly. I promise that my family will do everything in their power to keep you and your unborn baby safe. Caroline. I was pacing up and down the living room, trying to come up with a way to prevent Cassius from finding out that I was pregnant with his baby. Even I could not come to terms with it, and I knew Cassius would have a much harder time accepting this news. You can do it. Autumn tries to reassure me. Just walk into the cell like you usually do and start a normal conversation with my brother. If you continue to act this awkward, he will immediately be able to tell that something is up. And remember, this is the last thing that you want. We want to keep this from him as long as possible. Okay, I say as I walk out of the living room and head in her brother's direction. I can do it. It shouldn't be that hard. Who was I kidding? It was definitely hard. Why was this so difficult for me to do? I was positive that this was not the best time to tell him that I was pregnant. I knew keeping it to myself for now was the right decision to make, but at the same time, I did not want to keep such important news from him. It made me feel guilty inside. After everything that he has openly done for me, I should be able to tell him the truth without being so fearful about his reaction. I don't think I can, I whisper as I turn back around. You do know that if you don't show up in that cell, Cassius will freak out and think something happened to you. She points out, then none of us can stop him from getting out of there. Nobody will be able to hold him back. She did have a good point. I knew my mate. He would definitely do something like that if he thought something bad happened to me. He was always waiting. I had to suck it up. I place a hand on my tummy. Please give me the strength to face your father, my angel. Good luck, Autumn whispers behind me. I don't let her distract me as she waves from the back. I take a deep breath as I turn the corner and enter the entrance to the cell. My heart was racing, and I knew that was something that wouldn't go unnoticed by my mate. He was someone who paid attention to those little details. Cassius turns from staring at the wall the second he senses my presence. He frowns. You look unwell. He notices right away. Did something happen? I immediately shook my head. No, everything is fine. I was already acting strange before him. This is definitely not playing it cool. Cassius narrows his eyes as he scans my body from head to toe. Why does it suddenly feel like he can scan straight into me and see his baby there? He doesn't say anything as he whispers, "Are you not coming in?" Why was I hesitating so much? It wasn't like I feared my mate. I knew he wouldn't harm me. He frowns and pierces me with a penetrating gaze. I sense fear, he says in an unhappy manner. I never sense fear from you. Something isn't right. I had to act quickly before he suspected that I was pregnant. I'm not afraid, I tell him as I unlock the cell and close the distance between us. Autumn enters just in time to lock it back for me. I'm just making sure everything is secure, she says as she rushes back out. Cassius looks even more suspicious after scrutinizing her behavior. Are you going to tell me? He asks as he gazes down at my face. I clear my throat. Tell you what? I hate games, Caroline, he growls. There is something different about you, and I want to get to the bottom of it, right now. I didn't think he truly wanted to know. His entire life would change if he found out what I was hiding from him. Can you please drop it? I ask him softly as I wrap my arms around his neck and place my face against his chest. Believe me, I whisper, you do not want to know. He stiffens. You are not helping. I don't want you keeping secrets from me. I want to know everything bothering you so I can help. He couldn't help me with this. This concerned him. Your scent, he says as he leans closer so that his nose is against my neck. It has changed. I freeze. This is not good. It is not good at all. Why did I think that I would be able to keep something this big from him? It was obvious that Cassius would have found out even if I had chosen to continue with this lie that nothing was wrong. I quickly pull away from him and put as much distance between us as possible. There goes the scent of your fear again, he points out. I'm getting closer to the truth, aren't I? Okay, I say with my hands up in defense. I will tell you. He narrows his eyes while waiting for me to tell him the truth. Go ahead, He urges me. You have to promise me that you won't overreact and that you will keep an open mind about this, I say. I can tell that my words are not making this any easier on him. Just tell me, he growls. I take another deep breath. Do you remember what happened during the red moon? I ask him. When you kissed me? He asks. My cheeks flush. No, what happened after that when you were already back to your normal self? How can I forget? He asks me. Well, I've been feeling sick recently, and Autumn had a doctor come visit me. He did some tests, and well, I'm not sure how to say this, but I don't know how to finish that sentence. I can tell he still doesn't realize what I'm trying to say. Where are you going with this, Caroline? He asks. I can hear the frustration in his voice. Just spit it out. He has to know. Even if you choose to keep this from him, he will find out eventually. Cassius wasn't the kind of person that you could keep secrets from. He would dig out the truth one way or another. In fact, he could force me to speak the truth with a spell if he truly wanted to. Caroline? His impatience was growing. I bite my lip as I stare deep into his eyes. Cassius, I whisper, I am pregnant. Cassius. I stand completely still for a few seconds, or possibly minutes, as Caroline's words turn my body to stone. Out of everything in the world that I possibly expected her to say, this was definitely the last thing on my mind. This had to be wrong. It was the only explanation. I must have misinterpreted what she'd just said because there was no way she was pregnant. It simply was not possible. Maybe she was just sick with something else, and the bloody doctor got it wrong. In fact, who was the doctor who performed the examination for her? Is he someone that we could trust, or was he someone just looking to make money? Cassius, she asks gently, forcing my attention back to her. I know this is the last thing you want to hear right now. I was also shocked when I found out that I was pregnant. I still am. I didn't want to tell you yet, but you kept insisting to know what I was hiding from you. I was left with no choice. I can hear every word clearly, but for some reason, I can't seem to respond. Just one night. We only slept together for one night. How the fuck did she get pregnant already? I usually use protection while but I didn't think once to use it with her. It never crossed my mind. I drop to the ground and lean against the wall for support. I could already feel the beast within me asking questions. Caroline was pregnant, with my baby, our baby. I already had so much on my plate, trying to protect her while fighting the darkness and its need for power. Now, I had one other thing to worry about. What were these feelings inside of me? Was I happy? Was I upset? I couldn't tell. Was that also fear I felt? This news brought with it a lot of problems. Everyone would see my baby as a significant threat. Some people wanted to kill Caroline simply because she was my mate, and they didn't trust her because of it. Even some of her own people were willing to harm her if it meant getting rid of me in the process. Damn it. I had to be extra careful with this if I wanted both Caroline and our baby to be safe. My mate rushes to my side and places both hands on my face. Please don't let this news change anything between us. I do not want to lose what we have. I know a baby during these trying times is not ideal, but it's our baby, a baby created while expressing my love for you. Please give us a chance to be a family. At least try for me. It wasn't that simple. We live in a world that will kill you for even suggesting something like that, I growl. Caroline, no one will ever accept our baby. Our child will have a hard time growing up. A family is out of the question. Her eyes widen. What do you even mean by that? She whispers. It's our baby, Cassius. I want this baby. I do not care what you have to say. This is our baby. I was not denying that it was ours. I knew that this baby belonged to us both. However, we couldn't be a family. At least not now. Plenty of things still needed to be done before we could even dream of having a normal family. I agree. He or she is our baby, but Caroline, the world will not accept it. I try to reason with her. Our baby will always be in danger the second anyone knows who his parents are. I feel a sharp pain in my chest when her eyes begin to water. I know that, but I do not want to give up on the possibility of having a family with you. I run a hand down my face. This is not just about us anymore. Do you want our baby to be safe? I knew the answer to that question. Of course, she would want to protect this baby no matter what, even if it becomes too difficult to handle. What are you implying? She demands. I can see the fear in her eyes. It was breaking me into pieces to know that I couldn't give her everything she wanted. No one can know that you are pregnant other than those who will be around you all the time and who you trust, I answer her. After you have the baby, someone else will have to keep him. He cannot stay with you or me. For his own safety, our baby will need to be adopted by someone else, someone that we can trust. She gives me a broken, defeated look, and I can tell that this is the last thing she wants to do. We have to do it, Caroline, I urge her. I would not suggest something like this unless it was truly necessary. If we want our baby to have a chance at a safe, happy life, this is the only option. We have to give him up to someone who can give him a better home than we ever could. She covers her tummy with her hands and moves back from me. It hurt me to see her willingly put distance between us, as though I was a monster trying to separate her from her unborn baby. Do you even love him? She gasps. Do you even love our baby Cassius? My heart is overflowing with love for our child, even though I cannot see him. Yet, you seem ready to get rid of something we both created. Damn it. This is not how I wanted this conversation to go. Caroline. No, she shouts. I do not want to hear any more of this. I am taking my baby as far away from you as possible. Caroline. I was hurt. I suspected that Cassius wouldn't react positively to the news of my pregnancy, but I never anticipated that he would suggest I give our baby up for someone else to raise. How could he even suggest something like that? Did he have no feelings at all for this baby? I didn't feel the love, and it hurt my heart. I wanted him to love his baby just as much as I did. I wanted him to want to fight for our baby as much as I knew he would fight for me. What happened? Autumn asks as she sees me crying uncontrollably. Cassius remains completely silent as Autumn unlocks the cell and assists me in stepping out. He makes no attempt to stop me, silently observing as I walk away. I found it even more unsettling that he wasn't making any effort to comfort me. I had expected him to try to talk me out of it, but clearly I was mistaken. It seemed there was truly no chance of him changing his mind on this matter. He wants me to give up my baby, I explain as soon as we are out of the dungeon and back inside the house. Her eyes widened. Did he say that? She gasped. Not exactly in those words, I confess. He says that our baby will not be safe with us, and that we need to leave him with someone who could offer him a better life. Autumn sighs. I get what Cassius is trying to say, but I don't believe that is the right decision. Of course, I agreed with Autumn. She knew how hard this was for me. No woman would ever willingly give up her baby. I nod as I try to wipe the tears from my face. I know he has good reason, but it hurts to hear him say something like that so easily. It feels as though he doesn't care about our baby as much as I do. Does he not want to watch our child grow up? How can it be so easy for him to suggest that we give our baby up to someone else who can offer him a better life? Autumn holds my hand and squeezes it gently. I am sure he is suggesting something like this because he cares for both you and your baby. I don't think he's suggesting it because he doesn't want your baby in his life. Part of me knew this as well, but it didn't make any of this easier. Cassius. Lydia. She seemed to have eyes everywhere, and I still hadn't confronted her. If she discovered that Caroline was pregnant with our child, she would surely exploit that for her own gain. It was time that I got rid of her. The fawns believed that I couldn't get out of this dungeon, but that was not the case. I only pretended that I couldn't, so I would have the opportunity to be closer to my sisters and my mates. Now that I had something urgent to deal with, I had to leave. I considered telling Caroline about it, but knew it was best that she didn't know. She was already stressed, and I wanted to give her some space to calm down. I knew my words deeply hurt her, and it pained my heart to realize that the only way I could think of protecting our baby was by letting someone else take him in. I had to push my thoughts aside and take action. If Lydia had a spy watching me, that person would already be relaying news about my mate's pregnancy to her. I teleport out of the cell without a second thought. I'm inside Lydia's home without so much as blinking. This was long overdue. I was preoccupied with my mate and didn't have a chance to finish what Lydia started the second she tried to hurt Caroline. Judging by the amount of security around here, she was most definitely expecting me. However, I knew that she would not be expecting me today of all days. "What did you find out?" I hear her asking the messenger. "His mate is pregnant. It seems as though I got here just in time." "Really?" Lydia asks with her eyes wide open. "This is fantastic news. I could use this to my advantage. I thought my life was over, but the slut getting pregnant is exactly what I needed." My hand tightens into a fist. I hide myself while waiting for everyone but Lydia to leave the room. I wanted to make this as fast and quiet as possible. Lydia is preoccupied with laughing as I slowly sneak up on her. When she finally realizes my presence, it is far too late. I grab her by her neck and teleport her out of her home and instead back to mine. I throw her against the wall the second my feet hits the ground. Her body falls with a bang. "What the hell?" Her eyes widen with fear when she spots me. "See Cassius," she gasps. "I don't understand. Why did you bring me here?" I smile. I missed this. The fear in someone's eyes when they know I'm about to torture them. "You have been quite busy, haven't you, Lydia?" I ask her as the darkness slowly seeps out of my body. "No," she disagrees. "I have not." I chuckle. "I overheard your conversation with Falcon." I explain. "You had him spying on me." Her eyes are wide. "I only wanted to make sure that you were alive. He's the one who brought new information to me." Oh, the lies. "But you said," and I quote, "I thought my life was over, but the slut getting pregnant is exactly what I needed. Is that not your exact words?" I ask her. It was hard to keep my cool when I knew Lydia had plans to use my baby to get her way. "I think you are mistaken." She tries to use her enchantment spell on me, but I quickly dismiss it. Her pity spells were no match for my power. She could only catch me in the past because she caught me off guard and used my biggest weakness against me. Since I knew Caroline was safe, I had nothing to worry about. I could easily get rid of Lydia. "You tortured my mate," I remind her. She gasps. "I did not harm her." "You cast a spell on me, don't you remember? There was no way for me to harm her." I frown, "But you still tried to hurt her and even emotionally stressed her out. You did not keep your promise to me even though I gave you full control of my body." I could see the panic begin to enter her. She knew that it was over, and nothing she tries to say or do right now could help her escape from me. She closes her eyes in defeat. "Please make it quick." I grin. Now, Lydia. You know that is not the way that I do things. Not with someone that hurt the most precious person in my life." "Caroline." "I really believe you should sit down with him again," Autumn urges me. "Since both of you have had some time to cool off, I think now is the perfect opportunity to talk about your plans for the baby." I had indeed calmed down since our conversation an hour ago, yet I still felt uneasy at the thought of him proposing that we give our baby up for a second time. I don't think it was something that I was ready to face on my own just yet. Cassius broke my heart the minute he suggested abandoning our baby for his safety. I honestly doubt that Cassius will reconsider, I confess. He believes this is the best choice for our baby. Autumn sighs. "You need to change his mind, and you're the only one who can do it. He actually listens to you. No one else has that kind of influence over him." Maybe she was onto something. Ever since I started to develop feelings for Cassius, he had treated me differently. Sure, he was a bit rough at first, but things had changed. He was no longer that way. All it would take was for me to show him how heartbroken I would be if he made me give up our baby. "Should I come with you?" she offers. "If we both talk to him, he might be more willing to listen." Cassius genuinely cared for his sisters, not just for the benefits they could bring him. He had a soft spot for both of them. Taking Autumn up on her offer seemed like a smart move. "Okay," I reply. "Let's go together." As we walk toward the dungeon, an uneasy silence hangs between us, but nothing could prepare us for what we found in Cassius's cell. "Where is he?" Autumn asks, her voice trembling with rising panic. We scoured the cell in a frenzy, but there was no trace of him anywhere. "I don't get it," I whisper, confusion lacing my words. "He was just here. Where could he have gone?" I always suspected that Cassius could escape if he really wanted to, but I never imagined he would choose to do it while his sisters were here. "Let's try not to panic just yet," Autumn urges, striving to keep her composure. "We should find the others and see if anyone might have opened his cell." But why would anyone do that? No one here trusted him. I follow Autumn back inside the house as we search every room for my mate. Atticus, she calls out, and he rushes toward us the moment he hears his name. Is everything okay? He asks, concern etched on his face when he sees our expressions. Did you let my brother go? She presses. Did you help him escape from his cell? He looks bewildered. Are you two messing with me? He asks, confused. Why on earth would I ever set your brother free, knowing how dangerous he is? Just as I suspected, Atticus and his entire family would never put Autumn or Clarissa in harm's way. This is bad, Autumn whispers. Clarissa enters the room next, Damon by her side. They take one look at us and instantly sense something's wrong. What's going on? Clarissa demands. No one here knew I was pregnant, except for Autumn. I was waiting for the right moment to share the news, but now my mate had gone missing, and I feared it was linked to me. My pregnancy announcement probably threw him in a spiral. I knew Cassius was upset, but I never imagined he'd take it this far. We can't find Cassius, Autumn replies. Did any of you let him out? No, everyone answers in unison. Clarissa rushes back to the dungeon, and we all follow closely behind her. She examines the cell and sighs. I don't think anyone helped my brother escape. She points to the lock, still intact and unbroken. It's clear he teleported out of here. Atticus frowns. If the cell wasn't strong enough to keep him in this whole time, why did he choose to escape now? My heart sinks at that question, knowing I was to blame for his disappearance. I should have kept this news to myself until I was sure he was ready to hear it. Now, I had no idea where to find my mate. He could be anywhere, and the hardest part was that I had no way to reach him. The thought of never seeing him again makes my heart ache. Cassius wouldn't leave me, would he? We've been through so much together, and he always comes back for me. He always looks out for me, especially when he knows I'm in danger. But I couldn't shake the feeling that something terrible was headed our way. Caroline? The two of you are hiding something from us, Clarissa says, instantly catching the look on her sister's face. What aren't you telling us? Do you know where Cassius has gone? Autumn exhales sharply. No, we don't know where he is, but we might have a clue as to why he chose to leave. Well, what is it? Damon presses. Anything you're keeping from the rest of the family could help us find him. Autumn glances over at me, and I can tell she's hesitant to speak unless I give her the go-ahead. I bite my lip and nod, giving her the signal she needs to share my big news. Autumn takes a deep breath. Caroline is pregnant with Cassius's child. A stunned silence follows her revelation, and I can see the shock etched across everyone's faces. They all understand that while a baby is usually cause for celebration, the fact that this one belongs to Cassius puts my child's life in jeopardy. Clarissa turns to me, her eyes wide with disbelief. Wait, does that mean I'm going to be an aunt? I nod slowly. She springs up with excitement, clapping her hands before pulling me into a long embrace. This is incredible news. Well, Atticus interjects, his tone turning serious. As wonderful as this news is, it also brings a host of concerns. Everyone here knows how the overlords will react if they find out that Cassius Rain is expecting a baby with Caroline Raven, the very woman who was meant to help bring about his downfall. As you all can imagine, the supernatural community, along with all the higher powers who remember Azai Rain, will completely lose their minds over this. Autumn rubs his hand to warn him not to say that in front of me. I didn't blame him for speaking the truth. He was only saying what we all were thinking. The overlords are terrifying, Autumn confesses. They forced me to leave my home to protect my loved ones, tortured me, and treated me like dirt solely because of who my father was. Despite my history of never wanting to hurt anyone, they couldn't care less about that. All they wanted was to get rid of me because my father is Azai Rain. Many people I care about nearly lost their lives trying to rescue me from the Overlord's palace. It was one of the most frightening days of my life. I knew stories about the Overlords and what they did to innocent people they claimed were the enemy. Clarissa shivers at the thought. Just the memory of what they look like makes me feel sick. They have this terrifying aura that lingers long after they're gone. Autumn nods in agreement. I still see them in my nightmares sometimes. Their main objective right now is to keep tabs on all of us. I'm sure by now they're aware of both Clarissa and Cassius. They're just biding their time, waiting for the perfect moment to strike again. Damon stiffens. Whenever they decide to show up again, I am willing to fight to my death to keep my wife and entire family safe, he says as he pulls Clarissa in for a hug. This family is once again in danger, as I'm now pregnant with Cassius's baby. This makes me a significant threat. The combination of my power and Cassius's could result in an incredibly strong child. The mere thought of this will surely instill fear in the overlords and the Black Council. They weren't the only ones I was worried about. My entire family was built on destroying Cassius. The second they learned that I was pregnant with his baby, they would completely disown me. I could not rely on them for help. The only help they would offer me was harming my mate. The tension in the room is palpable as everyone struggles to come to terms with the announcement. It's clear that there's a strong sense of fear for the safety of our loved ones. Cheer up, Autumn encourages us, a hopeful spark in her voice. Not all is lost. We have a baby on the way, one of us, someone we already love and will love even more once he or she arrives. It gives us something to look forward to. Yes, the road ahead will be tough, but at least we're in this together, and we'll do everything we can to keep it that way. Her words warm my heart, and I can hardly believe how deeply she already cares for my baby. It really means a lot to me, especially since my own family would never accept my child because of his father. But still, I couldn't get over the fact that Cassius had left me after learning about our baby. Where was he? Why did he leave without saying anything? Was it because of what I'd said to him? Was he upset with me? Cassius. I look at Lydia's dying body on the ground. There is blood all over, and my ears are filled with her screams. I'd been torturing her for some time now, but I was ready to return to my mate and resume our earlier conversation. However, there were still a few stops that I had to make. I was stunned by Lydia's eerie laughter. Just moments ago she had been in pain, so why was she suddenly laughing? It unsettled me and made me feel as though I had overlooked something important. "What are you laughing about, foolish hag?" I demand. She rolls over so that I can get a good view of her face while gasping for life. "You made a very big mistake," she tells me as blood spills out of her mouth. "Getting that girl pregnant and then letting me find out. Killing me will not stop what I have planned for your mate and baby." I narrow my eyes and grab her by the hair. "What the do you mean by that?" She laughs, her teeth stained with her own blood as she spits in my face. "They already know, and they're coming for them." "They? Who the was they?" "Caroline, we have to find Cassius," Autumn says, worry etched on her face. I think he might be feeling overwhelmed by Caroline's announcement. But finding my brother when he wants to go off the grid is a real challenge. It's true, Cassius had a knack for disappearing, especially with his ability to teleport. I still had this guilty feeling in my heart for everything I'd said to him the last time I saw him. My intention was not to hurt him or make him believe that he had to leave, or that I did not wish to be around him. I simply was upset that he wanted to give up our baby without even trying. "We could check the abandoned castle," I suggest. "That seems like a place he might choose to be in." Clarissa chimes in. "I agree. We should look in places he usually hangs out or where he tends to stay." We've been discussing this over an hour now, everyone trying to figure out what the next plan was and the right way to enforce it. Did it occur to any of you that he might be out there plotting revenge on Lydia? Dante asks, his voice filled with concern. I can't speak for his twisted mind, but if I were in his shoes, I wouldn't rest until she was gone. Before I have a chance to dwell on that unsettling thought, disaster strikes. A deafening explosion rattles the air, snapping everyone out of their conversations and thoughts. The ground shakes beneath us, and the walls tremble as if they might crumble. We exchange anxious glances, the urgency of our situation sinking in, and a heavy uncertainty hanging over us. This wasn't good. I knew that an explosion of this degree wasn't the work of your average group. Whoever was out there clearly meant trouble. My list of enemies had grown rapidly because I loved Cassius. Thankfully, no one seemed to know about my pregnancy yet. Another explosion rocks us. Panic spreads across everyone's faces as they scramble to figure out what's happening. I step forward, but Autumn grabs my arm, holding me back. I think you should stay inside, she insists. We need to keep you safe. I wasn't used to being sidelined while the people I cared about faced danger. I want to help, I plead. No, she scolds gently. You're carrying my niece or nephew, and I won't let you risk your life and your baby's. Someone should stay with her, Atticus interjects, and that should be you, Autumn. She frowns at her husband. How can you say that? Whoever is out there poses a threat, and I need to help protect everyone. He looks unconvinced, but for good reason. He wants to keep her safe. Please, Autumn, he begs. If I need you, I'll call. But until then, someone has to stay in here to protect Caroline if things go sideways. She narrows her eyes at him, still wanting to protest, but ultimately relents. He'd successfully persuaded her by mentioning me. You too, Damon adds, directing his gaze at his wife. Stay back. Protect Caroline and the baby. It seems everyone was using me as leverage to convince their partners to stay put. Clarissa doesn't look pleased with Damon's ordering her to stay inside, but she remains silent as she watches him leave. I'm giving them 5 minutes, Clarissa declares. If they don't come back by then, I'm heading out to help. Autumn nods firmly. That sounds fair to me, sister. Anxiety builds inside me. What if it is Cassius? I say urgently. I should be out there to stop anything bad from happening. He listens to me. Autumn sighs. I highly doubt my brother would cause an explosion, especially knowing you're pregnant. Clarissa quickly agrees. Listen to Autumn. Whoever is out there, it's definitely not Cassius. Besides, I've got this uneasy feeling. The last time I sensed something like this, I don't even want to think about it. The sisters exchanged tense looks, which only heightens my own anxiety. They both understood the seriousness of our predicament. I place a hand protectively over my tummy. This was the worst welcome gift ever. It was supposed to be a joyous occasion. We all jump at the sound of yet another explosion. Stay here! Autumn and Clarissa shout as they rush out of the house. I start pacing the family room, torn about what to do. I didn't want to leave everyone to face this danger alone. Whoever was out there must have come for me. Just then, Winter bursts into the house, and I'm startled. When had my sister even arrived? Caroline, she gasps, we need to get you out of here now. My eyes widen in confusion. What are you talking about? What's going on? If the others are in danger, I can't just run away and leave them behind. Autumn sent me to get you out, she tells me urgently. We need to use the back door. Before I can ask more questions, she starts pushing me toward the exit. Winter, please tell me what's happening, I implore. Who's attacking? What do they want? There isn't time for explanations, she insists. You must do as I say for your baby's safety. My heart races. How does she know I'm pregnant? Did the fawns tell her? How? Caroline, she hisses. Keep moving. Your baby's safety is at stake. I want to ask more, but time is slipping away. I finally go along with her request as we make our way to the back door. Although I'm reluctant to leave Cassius's family behind, Winter isn't really giving me much of a choice. I allow her to pull me out the door, the cool breeze of the evening embracing us as we step into the beautiful yet quiet gardens. As we wander along the winding stone paths, I can hear the soft rustle of leaves and the distant sound of water trickling from the fountain at the center of the garden. Each step took us further away from the house. I gasp when I hear another explosion, and then a scream. I want to turn back, but my sister isn't letting me. I am finding it hard to remain quiet as she pulls me through the last gate. Where exactly are you taking me? I ask her. She sighs, again with a question, sister. Suddenly, it felt like she was lying to me. Why do you not want to tell me? I ask her hesitantly. She shrugs. I told you already that we need to keep you and your baby safe. That is why we need to keep on moving. There is no time for these discussions. I come to an abrupt stop, which unexpectedly forces her to halt as well. She turns to me, her eyes filled with confusion. What's going on? She demands, frustration evident in her voice. Why did you stop? I told you we're running out of time. A nagging feeling washes over me. Something isn't right. I can sense that Winter is hiding something. An icy grip of fear begins to tighten in my chest. What is it that you're not telling me? I demand, locking eyes with her. I know you, Winter. I've known you my entire life, and I can tell when you're not being honest about something. I desperately hope I'm wrong, but the guilt etched on her face confirms my fears. I'm so sorry, sister, she whispers. I wish things could be different, but our family has run out of options. The choices you've made, the way you love Cassius, all of it has led you down a dark path. Winter, I gasp, glancing around frantically. What are you talking about? What did you do? Why are we out here? Panic starts to claw at my insides, and I instinctively protect my belly with a hand. North, I hope one day you can forgive me for this. Forgive her for what? I scan her hands for a weapon, but see nothing. Which means before I can process the thought, a wet cloth is suddenly pressed over my mouth. My eyes widen in horror as a wave of betrayal crashes over me. It was her doing. She led me out here to make it easy for them to take me. My heart sinks, and a single tear rolls down my cheek. She'd turned against me. Winter had turned against me. Cassius? A cold chill runs down my spine as I survey the devastation at my sister's home. What the hell happened here? Vehicles lie burned, and the walls are singed black from a fire that must have raged here. Whatever unfolded in this place is definitely not a good sign. Lydia never revealed who she confided in about Caroline's pregnancy. She passed away before she could tell me the truth, though deep down, I doubt she would have shared anything with me at all. She planned this. She prepared herself for the worst. She knew I would be coming for her, and she had to play one last nasty trick to try and ruin my life. I could feel the fear rising in my chest, betraying itself in my expressions and movements as I forced my way into the semi-burned mansion. Caroline, I finally shouted, my voice breaking free even though it still felt heavy in my throat. I searched desperately, turning through empty rooms with no sign of her. I look out of the window when I sense movement outside, catching sight of my sisters in the garden with their family. I teleport straight to them and appear right in front of their eyes. They jumped as if startled, clearly not expecting my sudden appearance. Where is she? I growl, urgency lacing my words. I didn't have time to waste. I needed to find my mate. Autumn's brow furrows with concern as she replies, Caroline is missing. Those 3 words hit me like a punch to the gut, leaving me momentarily paralyzed. How could this have happened? I thought that with Caroline here among my sisters, she would be safe. If I'd known that something would go wrong the moment I stepped away, I would have never left her side. I don't understand, I shout, the frustration boiling over. Weren't you all here with her? How does she just disappear like that? My sisters flinched at my tone, but I couldn't help it. My only focus was finding Caroline. We were ambushed, Clarissa explained, her face pale. We left Caroline inside for her safety, but while we were fighting outside, someone took her. My fist clenched tightly. I thought you all would look out for her. I thought she was in safe hands here. Why was I directing my anger at them when it was my fault? I thought she would be safe here, but I had clearly messed up. While I dealt with Lydia, the witch was already enacting her plans behind my back. I thought killing her would solve some of my problems, but clearly I was wrong. She had outsmarted me. Who did she have time to speak to? Did she order the messenger to spread the news if she disappeared? Who the had helped her with this devious plan? When I got my hands on the person who spread the news about my baby on behalf of Lydia, they would wish that they were dead. I was losing my mind. Damn it. Damn it. Damn it. My mate, my baby. Rage and fear coursed through my veins. There were countless people who would want to harm both my mate and my unborn child. I couldn't shake the feeling that I might already be too late. Who did this? I asked through gritted teeth. Who's responsible for this mess? I could conduct my own investigation, but it would be faster to hear the truth from everyone present. My family did, Willow says, her lips trembling. I'm so sorry. I don't know how they figured out Caroline is pregnant with your child. Someone must have told them. They came for her and took her away, but there weren't any signs of struggles within the mansion, which leads us to believe she went willingly. She went willingly? It's possible that our sister was involved, Willow continued. She might have twisted Caroline's trust against her. Our entire family still believes Caroline is under your control. They'll do whatever it takes to. Her voice broke, and I could see the anguish in her eyes, unable to finish the thought. Her own family. Her own family was turning against her, trying to take her baby away from her. And I was all because of their hate for me. Those bastards. I knew I should have killed them when I had the chance. I spared their lives for my mate's sake, but if they harmed my baby, I would not hesitate to annihilate them. With a snap of my fingers, they would all be gone. Cassius, wait. Autumn stops me before I can teleport out of the garden. I didn't have time to waste. My mate and baby needed me. Every second longer I took to reach her side could prove to be dangerous. What? I ask her, my voice low and impatient. She looks worried as she says, Caroline's family will be expecting you. I'm sure they will have a trap laid out. Even though you are extremely powerful, you cannot take that risk without a plan. I want Caroline back safely along with my niece or nephew. However, we have to be rational. We need a plan. I was not used to accepting help from anyone. I was used to doing things on my own. However, I didn't want to make any mistakes with my baby's life. Caroline's family may spare her life, but they would harm my baby without a second thought, even though my child was part of them also. Please listen to our sister. Clarissa begs me. Everyone here cares about Caroline. We want to get her back safely, but we care about you also. My heart does something strange to hear my sister admit that she cares for me also. I want whatever makes my wife happy. Atticus adds, we may not see eye to eye, but she cares about you. She wants you to be safe. She wants Caroline to be safe, which means I want the same thing as well. Please reconsider teleporting there right now. It will be a trap. My hand tightens into a fist at my side. I didn't have much time. I knew I didn't. They all raised valid concerns. My main goal was to ensure that both Caroline and my baby made it out safely. I couldn't afford to make any mistakes. Although I was stronger than they wielded weapons that could potentially weaken me. Tell me, I say, what is this plan of yours and how long will it take to be executed? I wanted this to be done as soon as possible. If it was taking too long, I didn't care about the risks. I would go after Caroline's family on my own. Caroline. As I slowly open my eyes, I'm taken aback to find my entire family gathered around me, their faces filled with betrayal. They're staring at me as if I'm the worst thing that has ever happened to them. It's one of the most heartbreaking scenarios I could have possibly woken up to. My hands are tied behind my back, rendering me immobile, even if I wanted to move. They have me trapped in a chair while they all continued to look on. How long have I been out cold? A chilling thought darted through my mind, and I quickly glanced down at my belly to check for any bruises. My baby. I could still feel him safe within me, and I let out a sigh of relief. But it faded quickly, as I was all too aware of the perilous situation I found myself in. The crowd began to part slowly, allowing a single figure to move through. It was my mother. Her eyes were cold and distant as she approached, clearly having pushed her emotions aside to do whatever the others demanded. Who was I kidding? No one was forcing her to do anything. This was of her own free will. They were all against me. Not even my sister, the one I thought would stand by me, was on my side. I was abandoned by the people I would once give my life for. You're finally awake, she says icily. It's been quite a while, Caroline. The venom in her voice made me flinch. It pained me deeply to realize that no one here supported me after everything we'd been through. They had all turned their backs on me for loving someone they labeled a monster. Yet none of them knew Cassius like I did. I couldn't change their minds, but I wasn't going to sit back and let them hurt my baby. They could hate me all they wanted, but they had no right to touch what wasn't theirs. This baby was proof of the love and that Cassius and I shared. I would go down fighting to protect this baby at all costs. Mother, I managed to greet her, and the disgust on her face confirms the rift between us. Had I really lost the right to call her that? She was always the kind to force us to speak to her professionally, rather than how a daughter would speak to her mother. I knew now it was even worse than before. How are you? I venture softly. I was trying to keep this conversation civil, even though I knew there was truly no change of that. She narrows her eyes at me. Not great. You see, my daughter thought it wise to betray her family by loving a man destined to destroy us all. And on top of that, she's chosen to deepen our wounds by getting pregnant with that insane man's child. As a mother, I am truly disappointed and hurt that a child I've spent years protecting would so easily turn from me. I stood my ground, refusing to falter at her words. I wouldn't apologize for loving Cassius, nor would I regret my pregnancy. To me, my baby was a blessing, but she was too blinded by her hatred to see that. I want you to understand that my baby is innocent in all of this, I yell, my voice filled with desperation. Don't drag my child into this chaos or your quest for revenge. She glares at me, her eyes narrowing with a hatred I've never witnessed before. This monster has taken complete control of you. I no longer recognize my daughter in your eyes. You've become a total stranger to me. Because of that, the baby you carry is also a stranger to all of us. Her words are like a stab to my chest. However, I fight back against the emotional pain. I need to be strong for my baby. As much as it hurt, I could not let that affect my thinking right now. By now, Autumn and the others must have figured out that I was taken against my will. There were enough cameras around for them to identify Winter as my abductor. Once they realized that my family was behind my disappearance, they would undoubtedly come looking for me. My heart races at the thought of Cassius also showing up. He has always been my knight in shining armor. Whenever he senses I'm in trouble, he doesn't hesitate to jump in and save me. But this time feels different, especially now that I'm pregnant with his child. He still can't bring himself to accept it. The last few words I said to him weren't exactly kind either, but I was only concerned about our baby's safety. Cassius spared everyone's life the last time, I remind them. He could have wiped you all out in a second, but chose not to do it. Why do you still see him as a monster? It was the truth. My mate was kind enough to listen to my request and spare the lives of my family, even though they planned on hurting me. He could have killed them all and saved us both from having to deal with a situation like this again. However, because he knew I loved my family, he decided to give them another chance. They were blowing that chance right now. If Cassius were to appear right now, I didn't know if I would be able to stop him from harming them a second time. Laughter erupts around me, echoing my words. I can hear the whispers, each one carrying judgment. What did I say that struck them as so funny? Do you really think he could have wiped us all out? Someone asks from the crowd. He definitely has you delusional. No wonder you opened your legs and got pregnant for the beast. They had some nerve to still think this way. Everyone here was scared of my mate's power, and suddenly they all acted like that wasn't true. They were all hypocrites. You weren't so chatty when he showed up here last time, I say with a chuckle. You all seemed terrified. No one dared to come close. My words only fueled their anger, but I was just speaking the truth. Why did they act so bold when he was away, only to crumble the moment he arrived? They made themselves look foolish. I felt embarrassed to call these people my family. As I scanned the crowd for my sister, I had a few choice words I needed to share. I trusted her, and she had turned her back on me as if I were the enemy. I might expect such behavior from our mother, but never from her. If you think that monster can just walk in here like last time and get away with it, you are in for a rude awakening, Caroline. I paused in my search for Winter and turned my attention back to my mother. What did she mean by that? Were they planning to use me as bait to draw my mate in? Did they have some sinister motive in mind to harm him? I knew Cassius was powerful, but my family had been studying his weaknesses for years. They had failed to harm him the last time, which meant they must have been working even harder to find a weapon that could truly hurt him. I absolutely believe you might try to hurt the father of my baby, I countered. However, I doubt you will succeed. Cassius is more powerful than everyone gathered here combined, and you know it. That's why he intimidates you so much. You can't take a moment to step back and see how deranged you've all become, willing to hurt an innocent child just because you think his father is a monster. They looked offended by my words, but I was only speaking the truth. Ask yourselves this, I press on. Who's the real monster here? A man trying to save his mate, an unborn child, or the people who believe it's acceptable to harm a child due to the identity of their father? I knew that asking these questions wouldn't change their minds. They were already convinced they were in the right. I was simply trying to buy some time. The longer I kept them talking, the more time Autumn and her family would have to arrive. Caroline, we will not be doing the harming. My mother informs me, totally surprising me. Was it truly possible that I could trust her words that they did not plan on hurting me? What do you mean by that? I ask her, confused and maybe a little hopeful. Do you not plan on hurting my baby? We are not the ones keeping you, she informs me. We will be handing you over to someone who is responsible enough to get rid of Cassius's demon child. Stroth, someone who could get the job done. Someone who has been preparing for a situation such as this one for a long, long time. My eyes widen in horror. They couldn't be possibly talking about the overlords, could they? I should have known not to get my hopes up with this family. They had completely lost their hearts and souls. Have you lost your mind? I demand from my mother. Why don't you realize how crazy you are behaving? How can you speak about your own grandchild in this manner? Grandchild, she shouts. A baby whose father is a rain can never be my grandchild. I will never accept a monster as my grandchild. My eyes narrowed as I listened to her words. I never thought I could feel such intense hatred for my own mother, but hearing her speak so poorly about my baby completely changed my feelings toward her. I had forgiven her for many things, for even trying to harm me in the past, but I could not forgive her for disrespecting my baby like that. You are completely lost, I whisper. You have lost yourself. You and everyone here. I tried to protect you in the past, but I no longer will. If you insist on finding ways to harm my baby with Cassius, you will all feel his wrath when that time comes. Despite what Cassius have said to me in the past, I knew that he cared for our baby. I knew that he would rip apart anyone that tried to harm our child. I should have never said the things I said to him when deep down I knew that he was only doing what he thought was best for our family. I would do anything to go back and talk things out with him. I am afraid that you are the one that have lost sight of what truly matters for love, she tells me. Is it even love or obsession? I don't know what you want to call it, but you have betrayed us all, and this is why you are facing so many trials now. You are going down the wrong path, and clearly it doesn't seem like there is anything any of us can do to help you anymore. We tried our best. We were willing to put our own lives at risk to get you to come back to us. However, I have given up. We have all given up. Help me? When have they ever tried to genuinely help me? All they've done is look at things their way without trying to have an open mind about things. What could I expect from a group of people whose entire lives was built on destroying someone else's life? I'm about to respond when I feel a cold chill. It was a strange feeling. I could tell I wasn't the only one to sense this. As if someone had pressed a mute button, an unsettling hush enveloped the crowd, causing an eerie tension to thicken the air. It felt as though the world had become suspended in time, every heartbeat echoing loudly in the silence. Something was happening. I could tell. The atmosphere felt very different than it did a few seconds ago. A shiver tracing my spine sent a stark warning, amplifying my anxiety. The figures I was worried that would be taking me from here were making their way toward us. I could sense their presence before I even saw them, a palpable darkness looming as they approached. Fear settled in my stomach like a stone, and the unease intensified with each step they took, drawing nearer and nearer, bringing with them a feeling of darkness. I can hardly breathe as one by one each overlord steps forward in front of me. I cannot see their faces. They are all dressed in concealing black robes. The fact that I couldn't see any of them made this experience much scarier than before. I could not even place my hands over my tummy protectively. I was completely at all of their mercies. I've never felt this scared for anyone in my entire life like I did for my baby. Maid of Cassius Rain, they all intone in unison. Daughter of the ravens, you have betrayed us all. Within you lies the blood of Cassius Rain's children, the grandchildren of the cold-hearted as I Rain. Children? Grandchildren? Why did they say that? Could it be that they already knew something I wasn't aware of regarding my baby? I'm aware that one of the overlords possesses the ability to glimpse the near future. What did they see? Children? My mother asks with a look of horror on her face. Are you telling us that my daughter is having more than one baby for that evil monster? Yes, one of the overlords replied. The outcast is expecting triplets, just like her mate's mother did. My heart raced at his words. I wasn't carrying just one baby. I was going to have three. An overwhelming wave of emotion washed over me. If I thought my protective instincts were strong before, they had now tripled. The need to safeguard my children had grown exponentially. I glance around, trying to figure out how to escape these people. It's clear that my only option is to comply with the overlords for now. My mother, it seems, is firm in her decision and won't be swayed. "Well," she asks me, "do you see the kind of shame you have brought upon this family and yourself? Not only are you creating one monster, you are creating three of them." "You are sick," I shout. "How can you speak about your own blood that way?" She slaps me hard across my face. "Do not call those awful things my blood. They are not a part of this family, and neither are you anymore." I fight back the tears at being betrayed by my own mother just for loving a man that she hated. "I wanted to save you," I whisper, "but the second Cassius finds out that you gave me and his babies up for sacrifice to the overlords, he will punish you. Not just you, Mother, but everyone here as well," I say as I turn towards the crowd of people that were once my family. They were all looking at me with hatred in their eyes. I couldn't believe that they disliked me this much when there was once a time that they would do anything for me. "All of you, I feel sorry for you," I admit. "I asked him to save you in the past, but I can't do that anymore. I can't defend your actions anymore. Hurting me is one thing, but trying to harm the babies of Cassius Rain is totally different. He will not rest until he punishes each one of you. I am not the only one with children. You all have babies as well. At least I would not be here to see your destruction." They all burst into laughter, acting like they didn't care about my threat. They were foolish. They should be scared. Cassius was terrifying when anyone messed with someone he cared about. They clearly had short-term memory from the last time they tried hurting me. I closed my eyes as I felt the tears trailing down my cheeks. I would fight. I would fight as much as I could to keep my babies safe. Cassius! I was feeling incredibly impatient. It was becoming unbearable. The longer I stayed away from Caroline and our baby, the more my body spiraled into panic. I've usually been good at controlling my emotions, but everything had changed since she came into my life. Rational thought felt distant, clouded by my feelings for her. I paced back and forth, snapping at everyone around me because they were taking far too long to formulate this plan. Plans had never been my strong suit when it came to Caroline. All I cared about was getting things done my way, no matter how tough it was. Running a hand down my face, I felt the weight of frustration grow heavier. After dealing with Lydia, I had hoped to better protect my mate and our baby. But that wretched woman had outsmarted me. I wish I could bring her back to life, only to hurt her again. Unfortunately, she was long gone. "Everyone we need for this battle is gathered," Autumn says, breaking my spiraling thoughts. "Now is the best time to attack. They will not be expecting all of us." I wasn't accustomed to asking for help. I've always handled things on my own. Waiting felt wrong, as if it were eating me alive. I struggled to cope. All I wanted was to see Caroline again, to assure myself that she was safe. I had vowed never to let her out of my sight again after what we'd been through. I broke that promise and the guilt gnawed at me. I had to find a way to deal with this feeling. It was stopping me from thinking clearly. "This is taking too long," I growled. "I need to get to Caroline now." "And we will leave now," Clarissa informs me. "We will attack from their weakest points. Willow has already drawn out a map for us. She's been in and out of their residence and has a clear idea about everything. We will get her back, Cassius." My jaw clenched. "And how can we trust her?" I growl. "How do you know she isn't setting up a trap like her other sister did?" I saw the camera footage. Caroline's own sister was the one who led her away and kidnapped her by using her trust against her. I wanted to rip her head off her body for betraying my mate. Still, I knew that Caroline would never forgive me for hurting her sister, even though she had betrayed her. I did not know how to react to any of this, knowing that the people hurting Caroline were the same people that she cared deeply about. "Let's go," Autumn informs me. "I will teleport there," I tell her. "The rest of you can meet me there." "Wait," Clarissa stops me. "The whole point of this was for all of us to go together just in case they had a trap for you." Damn it, I did not agree with this. Even if there was a trap, I would rather be killed than let Caroline suffer. We were out in the driveway when the guards signaled for help. "What is going on?" Atticus says on high alert. I followed the sound of the commotion and discovered one of my father's men being pinned to the ground. "Let him go," I tell the guards. "He is with me." They slowly help him up from the ground at my command. Skylar, he's the leader of my father's remaining fighters. For the longest time, he has wanted me to return to them. However, I usually preferred working solo. "Skylar," Autumn greets him with narrowed eyes. "Princess," he says with a smile, "I told you we'd meet again." Right. Skylar had once kidnapped Autumn, and he was also the one who broke the news about our father to her. Few people knew it, but I kept a close watch on her during that time, making sure she was treated well. There was no way I would sit back and let anyone harm her. "What are you doing here?" Atticus growls, stepping protectively in front of his wife. Skylar brushes the dirt off his clothes as he sighs. "I was keeping an eye on my master's grandchildren, ensuring their safety. However, the forces that took them are far too powerful for me to handle alone. That's why I'm here, to inform you about their whereabouts." Grandchildren? What on earth was he talking about? Skylar was known for his chatter, and it was always difficult to keep up with him. He spoke too quickly and jumped from topic to topic without providing any clear explanations. "Skylar," I growl, "there's no time for games. If you really came to warn us, you need to be straightforward. I have to know what you found out." His demeanor shifts at my tone, becoming serious. "Your mate isn't just pregnant with one baby. She's carrying triplets, just like your mother did." It felt like the breath had been knocked out of me. Triplets? She was pregnant with triplets? Not just one baby, but three? And all their lives were in jeopardy right now? I felt a new kind of fear hit me all at once. I could not find the words to cope with this. My head felt like it was spinning out of control. I was running out of time. I had to save them all before it was too late. "Wait." Skylar cuts me off before I can teleport away. "She's not where you think she is," he informs me. "Her family has moved her." My eyes narrowed. "Where did they take her?" I demand. Impatience gnawed at me, and I could feel that time was slipping away even faster than before. He sighs. "They gave her up to the overlords. They now have her in captivity and plan on killing your babies." I can sense the anger in his words, where I can hear my sisters calling my name, urging me to stop, but I don't waste another moment as I teleport away from their home. Yet I find myself stuck just outside the overlord's kingdom. A barrier bars my entrance, and I realize it's blocking me from getting in. Damn it! How long have they been putting this barrier in place to keep me out? I can feel my desperation growing. "No! Oh, no!" I feel like shouting my mate's name, but I could not alert anyone that I was here just yet. Damn it. I need her to know that I'm here. I need her to know that I will never abandon her. And more than anything, I needed her to know that no matter what, I would come for her. Cassius. The rage inside of me was burning with intensity. I had to find a way to break the barrier. For once, I wasn't prepared for something. I pound my fists against the invisible wall. Immediately, a spark shoots out and hits me. This. Why was I not prepared for it? Why did I not consider that they would have a shield to keep me out for something this serious? Damn it. My mind was racing with possibilities of what was taking place in there, while they had my mate all to themselves. This was all those ravens' fault. They'd done this, and I was about to make them pay for it. I would not let them get away with their foolish actions. They would learn today not to mess with my mate or my children. I would teach the entire universe a lesson. Since I couldn't get into the Overlord's barrier yet, and would most likely need my sisters for help, I knew that meant I had time to get my revenge on the people responsible for putting my mate and my children in danger. I teleport into Caroline's old bedroom like I often did in the past. So far, there was no one around to spot me. It gave me enough time to look around. I wanted to burn this entire place to the ground, but knew by doing so, my mate's old memories would disappear along with it. My hand tightens into a fist as I fight against the urge to destroy everything in my path. Those assholes. I gave them a chance to live. I gave them the opportunity to leave my mate alone, and still they crossed the line. I can feel the darkness ready to explode. My foot feels heavy with each step I take forward. I don't care who's in my path, I will destroy them one by one. I push the door open, and the first person I see is one of their guards. He opens his mouth to raise an alarm, but my darkness breaks his neck with a swing of my finger. I see another guard, and before he can notice me, sliced his neck. I had to act fast with each guard that I saw. I didn't want them to raise an alarm before I had the chance to scope everything out. The guards were weak and did not stand a chance against me. I looked out a window and only then realized that they were hosting a meeting of some kind. When I spot a chair in the middle of their stage, I immediately know that's where they kept my mate before handing her over to the overlords. I scanned the area for a few minutes, taking a close look at their actions. I could tell that they were preparing for my arrival. Autumn was right. They wanted to lay out a trap for me, since they knew I would be here soon enough. Foolish people. The last time they tried to kill me with one of their special plans, they failed miserably. What made them think that they would be successful this time? Their lives were only spared because of the same woman that they kept betraying time and time again. And why did they keep betraying her? Simply because she cared for me, the monster. At least that's what they loved to refer to me as. I take another scan of the area, making sure not to miss anything this time. I pause when something catches my eye. I spot the weapon they planned on using on me. While they aren't looking, I use my darkness to mess with it. Did they really think something like that would be strong enough to stop me from destroying them? Once again, they'd underestimated the extent of my power. The darkness within grew even stronger whenever emotions were involved. I got more pissed when my mate was involved also, and now for my children as well. They didn't learn their lesson from the last time I almost wiped them completely out. I checked the time, guessing how long it would take Autumn and the rest of her family to reach the overlords. I didn't want to spend too much time here. I wanted to get this over with, take my revenge, and then free my mate. I teleport out into the garden, and no one has recognized me yet. They were all too busy discussing how to trap me and hopefully kill me. If Caroline's life weren't in danger, I truly would have laughed at their stupidity. "Mother," Winter says as she points at a drawing, "are you sure this is strong enough to hold him?" I narrow my eyes at the both of them. How could they seem so normal after sacrificing Caroline? Did no one in here have a heart for her? This scenario only made me angrier than I was before. She would give her life for these people, and what did they give her in return? Betrayal. Assholes. "Of course it is," Caroline's so-called mother says as she smiles, obviously pleased with whatever they had planned for me. "What a lovely plan," I say. My voice echoes throughout the garden and gets the reaction that I was hoping to get. It was just 4 words, but I saw the moment everyone noticed me for the first time. The fear and surprise in their eyes fed my ego. I enjoyed having this kind of reaction from them, especially after knowing how they treated my mate. "He's here!" one of them stutters as they all try to back away from me at the exact same time. I scan my surroundings, taking a good look at each of them. "Grab him!" another one shouts. "Where's the weapon?" For people who were just having an entire meeting on capturing me, they were clearly not prepared at all for my arrival. How absolutely terrifying. For them, "Cassius, you kidnapped my mate," I say with each angry step forward, knowing about her being pregnant with my babies. Slowly, darkness flows out of my body, surrounding the entire area. I can see the fear, but also feel it as I continue to corner them. "You totally ignored the fact that I spared your lives already, for the sake of my mate." I remind them, "She is the only reason why I didn't kill you the first time you tried harming her." Ironic, isn't it? The woman responsible for saving you, all of you, turned your backs on her when she needed you the most. And yet they label me as a monster. Turning their backs on someone who would go to any lengths to keep them safe, they offered her up as a sacrifice to the overlords. "Where is the weapon?" Caroline's mother demands. "We need it now." I can't help but smile. "Forget about that weapon," I say knowingly. "It's no longer operational. I made sure of that." I watch as the realization begins to dawn on their faces. the true fear settling in as they understand that their only plan to trap me has collapsed without much resistance. He isn't lying, Winter whispers, inspecting the weapon carefully. He's already tampered with it. I've never felt such intense hatred towards a group of people in my life. I've only ever loved and cared for my sisters in secret, and even then, it was from the shadows. This is the first time I've opened my heart to someone. It's the first time I've wanted to protect someone more than I want to protect myself. Now, she isn't alone. She carries with her something that binds us both. And yet these people before me attempted to harm them despite their innocence. What have my innocent children done to deserve this? Who have they ever hurt? What has Caroline done wrong, other than loving me? Why do they feel the need to punish her for opening her heart to me? The darkness around them thickens. It was almost gratifying to witness the fear swelling in their eyes, a mix of dread and anticipation for what was about to unfold. Tell me, I snarl, how does it feel to be bullied? Is it enjoyable for you? Do you savor the sensation of being overpowered by one person, rather than facing the might of a crowd taking advantage of a single pregnant woman? Suddenly, they had all lost their voices. Just moments ago, they had been celebrating, reveling in the fact that they had sacrificed my mate and my children to those bloody, heartless overlords. Now they were paralyzed by fear, uncertain of what might happen to them. Who here has a child? I ask, my tone icy and calm. It felt like the stillness before a hurricane. If they wanted to play dirty, I could certainly match their game. No, please, someone from the crowd implores. Spare the children, they've done nothing wrong. I let out a low chuckle, and there was nothing humorous about that request. Spare them? I reply, taking a step closer. But did any of you even consider sparing my innocent babies? Or is it only the humane thing to do when it involves everyone else's children but mine? I enjoyed messing with them and feeding off their fears. The darkness inside of me strived even more because of their reactions. Your babies are monsters. Someone from the crowd shouts. They are not normal children. Do not compare them to ours. They're nothing like ours. There are screams throughout the crowd when the darkness moves into his mouth and kills him on the spot. Well, that was surprisingly easy, I remark, brushing off my hands against my clothes. Who wants to go next? I glance around, but I'm met with silence in response to my question. Is that a tough question for them? Surely, there must be at least one person here who has something to say. Come on, I prompt again. Who else agrees with what he just said about my children? Does anyone else want to share their thoughts on my unborn babies? Don't be shy, I have plenty of time to hear what each of you has to say. I did not, in fact, have plenty time. I needed to get back to my mate. I had to break through the overlord's force. The more people I killed here and the more fear that escaped them, the stronger I would become. The more strength I received, the easier it would be to break through the force preventing me from getting to my pregnant mate. Well, I shout, my voice echoing in the silence. Everyone flinches at the sharpness of my tone. I've kept my thoughts to myself up until now. It's the first time I've actually raised my voice in front of them all. I feed on their fear even more than before. Where are the children? I demand. Bring them out one after the next. I just want to have a word with them. They need to know that their parents are baby killers. There are gasps all around me as everyone tried to hold their loved ones close to them. I chuckle. Such hypocrites. Enough of this. Caroline's mother shouts, "We will go down fighting. We will not allow you to lay a hand on our children." I laugh, and my laughter makes them all tremble. Our children? I asks her. And what about your own grandchildren? Did they mean nothing to you? She narrows her eyes. Monsters can never be my grandchildren. She shouts. I already told that to my traitor daughter, and I will repeat the same for you. You do not scare me, Cassius Rain. I teleport so that I'm now standing in front of her with a tight grip on her neck. Mother, Winter screams. My darkness pitches her into the air before she can get to her mother. No one was going to stop me today. Caroline was possibly the only person who could save them, and she was not here. They had to pay for what they did. I would make sure of it. Caroline, how are you feeling? Dash asks me as he takes a step in my direction. How dare he ask me such a question, knowing what his plans were for my babies? The overlords kept their faces hidden behind robes while out in the public, but now that they were home, I was able to see all of their faces clearly. I expected Dash to be intimidating, but instead, he was anything but. For some reason, I always pictured the overlords as having terrifying eyes, crooked teeth, and unsightly faces. Perhaps it was the way they constantly wore those flowing robes and kept their faces hidden that led me to believe they were all ghastly to look at. But when they took off their robes in front of me an hour ago, I was utterly taken aback. He sighs when I refuse to give him an answer. I was only trying to make this experience more comfortable for you, but it doesn't seem like you are in the mood to talk. Of course I wasn't in the mood to talk. Heartless bastard. I narrow my eyes when he examines my tummy. You should know that your mate was just here. My heart stills at his words. Cassius was just here. But why did he word it in that way? What exactly happened? My mate, I gasp, trying to keep a straight face. I was desperate to see Cassius again after our last conversation. There was so much more that I wished to say to him, and I'm afraid that I won't get the chance now. Yes, he replies with a smile, though there's an unsettling air about it. Unfortunately, he couldn't break through the shield we've set up around our palace. I find it hard to believe his words. My mate was the strongest man I'd ever come face to face with. When has Cassius ever struggled with anything? He has always been able to do anything he wished to do. Just how powerful is this shield? Dash seems to read my mind as he continues. We've been constructing this shield for years. After the death of his father, we realized we needed to be prepared for his ruthless children, especially since no one knew their whereabouts. Every overlord associated with this palace has worked tirelessly to create this shield. It is something that we are very proud of. No one else has ever been able to create something like this. It isn't easy at all to break. In fact, I am unsure whether or not your mate will ever be successful in getting it down. No, that couldn't be right. Cassius would find a way. I knew he would. He never backed down easily. If there was one thing I was certain of about my mate, it was that when he set his mind to something, he would accomplish it. I narrow my eyes at him. You underestimate my mate. He doesn't back down easily, especially when it comes to my safety, and the safety of our babies. I was hesitant to say the last part of that sentence. Cassius hasn't exactly accepted our babies yet. He was so ready for someone else to have them. He frowns. Soon there will be no children left for him to save. We're going to carry out this procedure as swiftly as possible. As part of the trade agreement with your family, we won't harm you in the process of removing those babies. We do keep our promises, no matter how hard they may be to keep. You'll survive. Your mother believes that Cassius has enchanted you and doubts your sanity. She believes that you are not thinking for yourself. She doesn't believe that you are still her daughter. I am in my right senses, actually. For once, I'm prioritizing my happiness over my mother's wishes. For the longest time, she was blinded with killing Cassius and saving the world. However, so far I haven't seen my mate do anything that threatened this world's existence. So far, all he has ever done is try to protect me. They were all wrong about him. I knew they were. I will fight anyone who tries to harm my children, I threaten him. I do not care what must be done. You do not want to step a foot closer to them. I can tell that my words do not intimidate him at all. Dash is anything but scared right now. Of course, he wouldn't be. They were trained for situations like this. He sighs. Spare me, Caroline. You can resist all you want, but you're not strong enough to stop us from doing what needs to be done. You should be grateful we're helping eliminate the monsters that have no place in our land. With my hands bound behind my back, I can't shield my babies as instinct compels me to do. When Cassius comes, you'll regret this, I warn. My voice drops lower as I add, I'll ask him to spare your lives if you call off this madness. I promise you that you will not be killed as long as you free me. He chuckles derisively. Should I be scared of your empty threat? You should know, Caroline, death is not something that I am afraid of. Threatening me with it will not work, I'm sorry. It's not an empty threat. I mean every word. I know just how fierce my mate can be when those he cares about are in danger. I've seen his work already. These people did not realize what they were up against. Just then, Jagger walks into the room, his tall frame and dark eyes imposing. We're ready for her. My heart drops. This cannot be happening. I needed to stall for more time. There must be something I could do to prevent them from taking me. I was sure that Cassius was trying to find a way to break the shield. I needed to give him that extra time. I'm sorry, Dash says, though there's no hint of sympathy in his voice. We can't prolong this any longer. I desperately scan the room for an escape route, but my heart sinks as I realize I know nothing about this place. Even if I somehow managed to break free from their hold, I wouldn't know where to run or hide. Facing 8 overlords alone is not a wise option at all. Autumn, we need to hurry, Willow exclaims, panic evident in her voice. Cassius plans to kill my entire family. I can feel their fear in my hearts, and it's hurting me. I could sense her fear for their lives. We all knew they somewhat deserved it after their cruel treatment of Caroline, especially since she was pregnant with my brother's children. However, we also did not want Cassius to have to live with the reminder that he killed his mate's entire family, no matter how heartless their actions were. I knew what something like that could do to their relationship. A messenger had brought news of the unfolding chaos. That is how we were aware of everything happening. With my brother's rage boiling over, Willow's family was in serious danger if we didn't reach them in time to intervene. I close my eyes and take a deep breath. I can sense the battle that is near. It instills fear inside of me, but there is also a new feeling stringing along. It's almost like I'm excited for what's next. I've never felt this way for a battle before, and it frightens me. What did this mean? Was it the darkness? Could it be finding a way into my heart? I shook that thought out of my head. I had to be imagining this. There is no possible way that I would ever allow something like that to happen. I believed that focusing on Willow's family wasn't the most pressing issue right now. The Overlord still had Caroline, and I originally thought that Cassius would be too preoccupied trying to save her from their grasp to have time for Willow's family. But I was mistaken. It turned out there was a shield blocking my brother's access. He needed all of us to help break it down. Our combined powers were indeed more than enough. While he waited for our arrival, he decided to pay her family a surprise visit. "Do you think Cassius will listen to us?" Clarissa asks, uncertainty lacing her voice. "He has to," I say reassuringly. "He might be too consumed by his anger to realize that his mate and their babies are in danger. We need to remind him of that. If we can distract him just enough, we can get everyone out safely." I knew Caroline could be the only one to pull Cassius back from the edge, but without her here, it was up to us to prevent disaster. "Please, don't do anything reckless," Atticus urges me, his concern palpable. "If things turn dangerous, we can try to rescue Caroline without your brother. Just promise me you'll keep yourself safe." I nodded in acknowledgement. Atticus had become increasingly protective lately, aware of the many who wanted to eliminate my siblings and me. His trust in Cassius was still shaky, and I understood why. "Let's move," Clarissa pushed, urgency in her tone. "We're running out of time." A sudden series of screams echoed in the distance, sending a chill through me. I could only hope we weren't too late. "Cassius!" The entire scene is engulfed in my darkness, resembling a home ablaze, smoke swirling in every direction. The terrified screams around me only serve to fuel the beast within. I can feel my power surging, growing stronger by the moment. My hand tightens around Caroline's mother, squeezing the very life from her. "You're nothing but a pathetic excuse for a grandmother," I snarl. "I'll make sure to reduce everything you've built to ashes." Her eyes widen at my threat. I mean every word, every single thing she cherishes will be turned to dust when I'm finished here. "Let go of my mother," Winter screams, lunging toward me. My darkness lashes out again, slamming her to the unforgiving ground. I'm not finished. Once I deal with her mother, she will pay as well. She broke my mate's trust first, and now she has to face the consequences. Crashing sounds echo as my power wreaks havoc around us, accompanied by the shrill cries of those who dared to threaten my mate and our unborn children. "This is for Caroline!" I roar as flames erupt around me, consuming everything in sight like something out of a nightmare. One by one, all the children are lifted into the air for their parents to see. Caroline's mother watches in horror, her eyes wide with despair. You messed with my family, I growl, and I'll make sure to mess with yours. I want her to witness this destruction slowly, every moment a reminder of what she's lost before I end her life for good, where she'll never harm my mate or our babies again. Stop it! I hear the frantic screams of the mothers. Did they make my mate scream like that too? Did she beg for mercy for our children? Just the thought fuels my rage further, causing it to boil over as I raise more children into the air. One drop is all it would take, just one. You are a monster. Caroline's mother gasps between labored breaths. Nothing will ever change that. I smirk. It takes one to know one. I'm on the brink of showing her just how monstrous I can be when I hear someone shout my name. No, the fun was just about to be started. Cassius! Autumn cries out again. Please don't do this. Let the children go, brother, Clarissa pleads. They're innocent, forced into this because of their cruel parents. Don't let them suffer for their parents' actions. These people are the reason my mate and children are in danger, I roar. Their fear is what fuels me. But why are they even here? This isn't about them. Caroline needs you, Cassius. Autumn's voice breaks through. If you let these people distract you, you'll lose her. Then I guess I need to finish this quickly, I growl, more flames licking the air around us. Please no, they cry as fear grips them at the thought of losing their children. She's running out of time, Autumn insists. We need to act now, brother. She needs us. These people are buying more time for the overlords. It is part of their plan to distract you here while Caroline needs you. This is still her family, Clarissa reminds me. They may not be the best, but do you really want to live with the knowledge that you killed the people she grew up with? I hate that their words are getting through to me. In the past, I wouldn't have cared about what anyone said. I did as I pleased. But now that Caroline has entered my life, everything has changed. My mate. The woman I've fallen hopelessly in love with, but never dared to confess my feelings to. Now her life hangs in the balance, and I'm wasting precious time on these foolish people. I release her mother, and she crumples to the ground, unconscious. She may be alive, but by the time she wakes, everything will be nothing but ash, their home gone. I look at Winter, and every fiber of my being wants to hurt her too. But time is slipping away, and part of me that loves Caroline is holding me back from unleashing my fury on these people. Cassius! Autumn gasps as an explosion rocks the area, one that I've caused. The sound reverberates like waves mixed with screams as everyone scrambles for safety while I watch the chaos unfold. Everything must burn, I tell her. Everything. Caroline! I spot one of the overlords, Luthais, Lucy's brother. He was nearly killed during our last battle against the overlords. Owen, a former overlord, had given his power to Luthais, saving him but turning him into an overlord himself. Unlike the others, Luthais doesn't seem to relish the idea of harming my babies. He has a heart, even with his new status. Maybe I could somehow convince him to help me escape. I'll seize any chance I get to protect my children. They deserve to live. I throw myself to the ground, placing my hand over my belly, pretending to be in excruciating pain. It hurts. I cry out. What's wrong with her? Jagger sneers, looking at me with disdain. I'm not sure, Luthais replies, but we should put this on hold for a few minutes until we figure out what is wrong with her. Are you out of your mind? Dash exclaims, urgency lacing his voice. We're running out of time. We can't afford to give Cassius and his siblings a chance to reach us before we wrap this up. I scream and clutch my stomach, slightly taken aback by how convincing my act turned out to be. I had to keep it up. They needed to really believe that something was wrong with me. I knew none of them cared, but it was worth a shot. I was willing to do anything to save my babies, and if I was left with no choice but to try and fight back on my own, I would. Either way, the lives of my babies were in danger. It didn't matter which option I took. It'll only take a second. Luthais insists, taking my hand and pulling me away despite their objections. Caroline? We were now in a separate room, and thankfully, none of the other overlords had stopped us. I was surprised that Luthais went against their orders, and they just let him. Where's the pain coming from? He asks, doing his best to help me as he examines my body like a doctor would. He was my only chance at escaping, my last hope to protect my babies and reunite with my mate. I needed to say the right words to get him to help me get out of here. I knew it wouldn't be easy and that it would take a lot of convincing, but I was willing to do anything at this point. I was faking it, I whisper, making him look at me with surprise. I can tell that this was not the response he was hoping for after he fought to get me away from the other overlords out of concern. You faked it, he replies, astonished. I nod, urgency creeping into my voice. Please, just listen to me before we head back out there. I knew I didn't have much time to get my point across to him, but it was worth a try. I was hoping that my hunch about Luthai's was real and that he was different from the others. He hesitates, but doesn't try to pull me back where the others were waiting for us. Speak quickly, he urges. You've got about 5 minutes before someone comes in for you. We would both be in trouble if they catch us in here talking instead of what I brought you in here for. Here goes nothing. My last attempt at escape. Please help me, I beg, cutting to the chase. There's no point in dancing around the issue with Luthai's. They're planning on killing my babies, and you know that. But I know my children are not monsters. They won't grow up wanting to take over this world. You know Autumn and Clarissa personally. They've never done anything to harm anyone. They are the kindest souls. Why would they ever hurt anyone? And they are children of the sorcerer that all of you are so scared, yet they are nothing like him. He doesn't look convinced. His jaw tightens. I carry the memories of Owen. When an overlord dies and someone else takes their place, all their memories transfer to the new one. Owen had all the memories of the previous overlords. Those memories go all the way back to the Azai reign. I know exactly why they're so afraid of what your children can do. Azai caused mass destruction, and no one could have stopped him if the mother of his children hadn't killed him. If she had chosen to side with him, the world we live in today would be vastly different. I gasp at his revelation. I understood that new overlords inherited past memories, but I hadn't fully grasped what that meant. He holds a wealth of terrifying knowledge. Just how evil was Cassius's father? Why did he crave power so desperately? That doesn't mean my children will be anything like their grandfather, I whisper. Please, they're innocent and deserve a chance at life. Think about your sisters. What would they think if they knew you helped the others get rid of my innocent babies? My words strike a chord with him. Mentioning his sisters was a clever move. I was relieved that Luthai still held on to connections from his past. Many overlords turned cold and distant, but he still had some warmth inside him. I needed to reach that compassionate side, not the one dominated by the heavy memories of past overlords. I don't want to disappoint my sisters, he confesses, but I also don't want to be held responsible for the world's destruction. I promise you that neither Cassius nor my children will be a threat to anyone, I assure him, hoping to persuade him further. You can't know that for certain, he counters, deep in thought. Children have minds of their own. I get what you're saying, I respond, but if your friends out there decide to harm my babies, I will fight back. You might be able to take me down, but there's one person you cannot stop if that happens, and that's Cassius Rain. He will come for me and unleash destruction on everything and everyone here if you harm me or our babies. I know what he's capable of when those he cares about are in danger, and none of you are ready for that. If you really care about the people here, you should think twice before letting it come to that. I might still convince him to spare your lives if you decide to help us. I was doing my best to appeal to him, and though it felt like a long shot, I couldn't give up. I had to stay strong for those counting on me. I was speaking the truth. Cassius would unleash havoc if they harmed me or our children. I had learned enough about him during our time together. The fact that he hadn't broken down the barrier yet was surprising. It must be stronger than the overlords claimed if it was taking him this long. He stays staring at me for a long time before I see the moment he makes up his mind. Okay, Luthais finally says as he helps me to my feet. I'll find a way to buy you some time to escape, but you need to move fast. The second they discover I've helped you, they'll see it as a betrayal of the Brotherhood. If I don't make it out alive, tell my family that I love them, and I'm sorry if I ever disappointed them. What was he saying? If he helped me escape, I wouldn't let the other overlords harm him. He was still the brother of my friends. Cassius and I would be forever grateful for his assistance. Come with me, Caroline, he instructs. I know a secret escape tunnel that leads out of here. Yes, I couldn't believe it. Luthais had actually agreed to help me. Cassius. Autumn and Clarissa had teleported with me to the Overlord's stronghold. Once again, we found ourselves facing a barrier preventing our entry. What is this? Autumn demands, attempting to push her way through, only to be thrown back by an invisible force. They've never faced something like this before, and neither have I, other than earlier when I'd failed miserably. I can't get in, no matter how hard I try, Clarissa says, stepping up beside Autumn. And I am trying my hardest. It's their shield, I inform them. They've been preparing for our arrival. To keep us away, they've erected this barrier, and we need to break it down if we're going to rescue my mate. I knew that I needed to act fast. I wasn't moving as quickly as I wanted to. My anxiety was swelling by the second, yet I forced myself to maintain an outward calm. I had already gone into killer mode with Caroline's family earlier. While a few had perished in the blaze, her mother and sister were still alive, much to my disappointment. I had my sisters to thank for that. They'd somehow convinced me to let them go, even though I wanted to strangle the life of them both and watch them suffer for all eternity. I couldn't afford to get distracted again. I needed to focus on what mattered. Revenge could wait until after I had Caroline back in my arms. Can you break it down? Autumn asks, her eyes on me. Unlike them, I had been training to dismantle anything that stood between me and my goal of continuing in my father's footsteps. Those were the days of the past. Now, my primary mission was protecting my mate and children. Children. I never thought I'd see that day. I tried earlier but wasn't able to, I admitted. Clarissa stares in disbelief. You mean to tell me that our big scary brother couldn't actually do something for once? I frowned, displeased with the implication of her words. Relax, Autumn says, giving me a reassuring smile. She's just teasing you. I wasn't accustomed to her playfulness. Life had forced me into seriousness for too long. Memories of our younger days hit me suddenly, and I fought to suppress them. It was easier to dwell in darkness than to embrace the light of good memories. I fed on the fears of Caroline's family, I explain. I might be able to break it down now. That's a creepy power, Clarissa remarks, shivering slightly. You have it in you too, I tell her. You just haven't unlocked it yet. Her eyes widened with horror, and I saw that she didn't want to tap into that potential. Autumn shared her apprehension. Darkness lurked in all of us, but it needed to be embraced to unleash its true power. I placed both hands on the shield and concentrated hard. The more I focused, the better my chances of breaking through. I narrowed my eyes and roared as the shield began to tremble, my darkness swirling around it. It's shaking, Autumn gasps. Keep going. Don't stop now. I had no intention of stopping, but this was draining me more than I expected. They'd built this shield strong, I had to admit. I didn't care about being discreet. They would know if their shield was being compromised. They were expecting me, which meant I had to hurry and dismantle the barrier keeping me from my woman. Come on, brother. Clarissa cheers, her voice rising with encouragement. You can do it. Break it down. I didn't think her little words of motivation would help me this much. For some reason, it made me feel stronger than I felt before. What was this feeling? I felt the darkness surging within me, pushing against the shield. It was making some headway, but not enough. This was frustrating. I should have been able to break it down by now. Don't give up, Autumn urges, placing a hand on my shoulder. She's right, Clarissa adds, also resting a hand on me. Keep going. We're here to help you retrieve your mate, along with our possible nephews and nieces. We're right beside you. I didn't realize how good it would feel to have my sisters supporting me. For so long, I had watched over them from a distance, ensuring they were safe and free from harm. Each time, I did everything within my power to keep them out of danger. This was the first time they were standing fully by my side, offering their support without fear of being dragged into the darkness with me. Their encouragement fueled my strength as the shield shuddered more violently than before. Just a bit more, that's all I needed. Cassius! I froze, instantly recognizing that voice. Cassius, it called again, pulling my focus away from the barrier in front of me. Do you hear that? I ask my sisters. I do, Autumn replies. I hear it too, Clarissa agrees. It's Caroline, but where is her voice coming from? My eyes began scanning for any signs past the shield. Wherever she was, I had to find her. I didn't stop searching. Then I saw her, my mate. My heart sank at the sight. She didn't seem to be hurt, and I let out a sigh of relief. Caroline was okay, yet the panic in her eyes was unmistakable. She was running toward me at incredible speed. It was only then that I noticed she wasn't alone. The overlords were chasing her from behind, each of them quickening their pace to reach her before I could. Fear clutched at my chest as I took in the scene. The desperation to break the shield had just tripled in size. I was running out of time. I couldn't let them get their hands on her before I could snatch her and pull her into my arms. Brother, Clarissa gasps, hurry up and break this damn thing. I pressed tighter against the shield and continue where I stopped. I could not give up. I had to keep going. My mate's life depended on this. Come on, break, 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 I hiss. I needed to get to my Caroline. I needed to get to my children. I had to. Their lives depended on it. Cassius, Caroline cries out. The overlords were getting closer to her. Caroline! I shout back at her. My voice pierces the air, sending the shield crashing into 1,000 fragments. A deafening crack reverberates, reminiscent of thunder, as it all collapses around us. Caroline. Everyone freezes as the shield shatters to the ground, now visible in 1,000,000 pieces. Before the overlords have time to react, Cassius is suddenly in front of me. Without a word, he pulls me into his arms, burying his face against my neck. I wrap my arms around his neck, holding on tightly as I bury my lips in his hair. I could sense my body being swept away by a wave of emotions. Being in his embrace felt incredible. In that moment, time stood still. I felt safe, and I knew my babies were safe too. I was finally with the one person who would do everything to protect me. Since the first day I met him, Cassius has never failed to save me. I was lucky to have a mate like him. I wish my family could have seen him in the light that I did. Maybe then they would have understood that he was nothing like they envisioned him to be. Words couldn't capture how good it felt to be close to him again. I missed him. I missed the warmth of his touch. I missed feeling like I didn't have a care in the world with him by my side. He made life feel light as a feather, and I couldn't fathom being with anyone else. No other man could ever make me feel the way I felt in this moment. He was mine, and I was his, forever. Cassius Rain, you truly are the light of my life. I wasn't the only one thrilled by his arrival. Our babies sensed it too. They could tell that their father was here to rescue them. I just knew he would always be their hero. We are just all lucky to have someone like him in our lives. Are you okay? He asks, a serious look on his face as he searches my body for any signs of injury. His voice was like a soothing melody in my ear. I gazed at him, seeing my whole world reflected in his eyes, hoping he understood how much he meant to me in this exact moment. I am, I assure him. But then I remembered the overlords were right behind us, keen to take revenge. They knew Luthais had helped me escape, and I feared the worst for him. They didn't have a chance to hurt me. Luthais helped me escape, and I can't see him among them. Please, whatever you do, don't harm him. He saved us. I was trying to keep my promise to him. I would hate to tell his family that something happened to him because he tried to save me. He nods, determination etched on his face. Go stand back with Autumn and Clarissa. I need to have a little talk to the overlords. I knew it wasn't just a little talk. He was putting it into nice words. Nothing about this was going to end with a small conversation. I didn't want to let go of him, but I knew there was no choice. This wasn't something either of us could avoid. The overlords wouldn't just let us leave without a fight. Plus, I knew my mate would never walk away knowing they threatened our children. Reluctantly, I slowly released his hands and stepped back. Once I was back in the protective embrace of his sisters, my mate turned to face his enemies. There were 7 of them, and only 1 of him, yet they all understood how powerful he truly was. His presence alone shifted the atmosphere. No longer could they bully me. They knew their lives could be over in an instant if they didn't act right. They had trained for years for this moment. They have been preparing to take down someone as powerful as Cassius. That is what scared me the most. While I knew the overlords would get what was coming for them, my concern for Luthai's lingered. Lucy's brother helped me escape, I explained to Autumn. They know he assisted me, and I have no idea where he is. I hope he's okay. I couldn't bear the thought of him being hurt for his kindness. We'll find him as soon as this is over, Autumn promised. Lucy and her family have supported us greatly in the past. We won't let anything happen to their brother, especially given how he became an overlord in the first place. I was grateful for their willingness to help. You people have tried to kill my babies, Cassius says flatly, getting straight to the point. My children have done nothing wrong. They simply exist, and because of that, you feel threatened by their power. What kind of reflection does that offer on each of you standing before me today? Your children are monsters, Alistair growls. You're already a monster like your father. What makes you think they won't be the same? At that moment, darkness surged around Cassius the instant they labeled our babies as monsters. You're the real monsters, Cassius roars, not accepting their insults lightly. Tell them, brother, Clarissa shouts next to me. No one talks about my nieces and nephews like that. I instinctively placed a hand over my stomach, feeling a wave of love for them. While many loathed my babies for simply existing, there were just as many willing to fight to keep them safe. Why did so many people call them monsters when they had done nothing wrong? Autumn and Clarissa would never hurt anyone unless provoked. And Cassius, my mate, had changed so much since meeting me. He wasn't perfect, but he wasn't a monster. Those surrounding us were so blinded by fear that they had transformed into monsters themselves, unwilling to see him for who he was. I will make each and every one of you pay for putting my mate and children in danger. Cassius bellowed, his voice booming so loudly that even the trees seemed to shake as birds fled for cover. Even the animals sensed that something terrible was approaching, a looming battle that filled me with dread about the uncertain outcome. Caroline. Cassius reign, the overlords declare in unison. You have plans to take over the world, and we are here to stop you. What do they think they can accomplish without Luthais? All the overlords were supposed to be present to pose a serious threat to the 3 children of Azai Rain. Were they really considering this? Their confidence in taking down my mate without everyone here seemed misplaced. It makes me question everything I knew about them. How well did I actually know the overlords? It was understood that my sisters and I could combine our powers to stop Cassius and his sisters if it ever came down to that. Yet if we failed, the overlords were meant to step in and manage the fallout. That's precisely what they were doing now. I refused to help my family in taking down my mate, which left them to carry out the task I was supposed to handle. They were finishing the job, but I would not let that happen. Cassius was everything to me, and I would not let my children grow up without their father. Cassius will need both of you, I tell Autumn and Clarissa. The overlords still wielded considerable power without Luthais. Since my mate could only tap into his full potential when his sisters stood by his side, his life was at risk unless they agreed to join him. I realized Autumn and Clarissa were hesitant to embrace the darkness and wanted to keep that part of themselves at bay. However, if they wanted Cassius to have a fighting chance, they had no choice but to embrace it. I was determined to do everything I could to persuade them, but I didn't think it would take much convincing. The bond of siblings would drive them to do whatever it took to keep him safe. They loved Cassius, even though they didn't get the chance to grow up together. All they had to do was let us go, Autumn murmurs. We don't want to hurt anyone. Why can't they see that? Why start a battle when all our family desires is peace? She had a point. It was foolish of the overlords to provoke a fight when Autumn and Clarissa had never threatened anyone. They were nothing like Azai Rain, but the overlords didn't see it that way. They judged them based on their father's past actions. They're scared, I reply. They've witnessed the past. They bear memories of old overlords who saw firsthand what your father did. Whatever it was they experienced must have struck fear in them. They want to avoid a repeat of whatever happened in the past to scar so many people. I understood their fear, but they shouldn't let past horrors cloud their judgment about the present. They were only meant to attack when provoked. They had no reason to do so now. I get that, Clarissa whispers. But they didn't have to take things this far. Trying to harm our brother's children is crossing a line. They're acting like the real villains by threatening innocent lives that haven't even had a chance to see the world. She was right. The overlords had overstepped, even if they thought they were doing the right thing. The moment they aimed to harm my children, they shifted from being the good guys to crossing over to the dark side. I tried to explain that to them, but they didn't want to listen to me. I realized there was absolutely no use asking them to stop anymore. It's starting, Autumn alerts us as the overlords circle my mate, chanting in unison. Watching this unfold is excruciating, knowing that this battle could lead to devastating losses. I would do everything in my power to prevent that from happening. I gasp as I see flames swirling around my mate in various shapes and sizes, the heat radiating even from this distance. It's some kind of ritual, Autumn says. What on earth is that? It was unlike anything any of us had ever witnessed. Whatever this ritual was, its purpose was clearly to inflict serious damage on its target. How long had they spent crafting this? Was it solely designed to harm my mate and his siblings? There's still a chance for each of you to back off, Cassius warns them. This is my final warning, and I'm only extending it because I know my mate hates when I resort to violence and end up killing. His words send my heart racing. I never realized my opinion mattered so much to him that he would actually consider sparing their lives, despite the way they've acted. It fills me with warmth to know how much he cares for me, even in such dire situations. I can't believe he's actually giving them a chance to walk away, Clarissa says, shaking her head. He's truly changed since you came into his life. My heart swells at her words. It makes me happy to see that I've had a positive influence on my mate. I just wish they'd stop and let us leave, I confess. None of us wanted to witness this fight. I was exhausted and just wanted to take my babies home with my mate. As the flames around Cassius rise higher and grow more intense, fear grips me. Even though I know how powerful he is, it's still daunting to see him surrounded by so many overlords who want to do him harm. Cassius takes this as a signal that they are not willing to back down, and he retaliates in kind. I hold my breath as darkness begins to rise from the ground, slowly eclipsing the fire. The chants grow louder as they all turn their hands toward him. The earth starts to tremble, and I cling tightly to Autumn and Clarissa for support. I shudder at the thought of what was to come. I could feel it in my bones. Cassius was about to bring this entire place down if the overlords didn't stop soon. Cassius! The overlords were putting up a fierce fight. My darkness was overpowering their fire, but I could sense they were holding back. If I was already struggling under their attacks, I needed to brace myself for what was certainly coming next. Bringing my darkness to life, I conjured a sword that materialized from the smoke, causing their eyes to widen in shock. The sword whirled through the air, making a full circle before aiming for each of them. It managed to slice one overlord's arm and graze another's cheek before being swatted to the ground by one of their own. Suddenly, another flame attack struck me on the arm. Damn! I could feel Caroline's fear pulsating through the air. I had to push it aside. She was worried for my life, but I was more than capable of handling this. Yet, deep down, I knew I would need assistance. This wasn't a fight I could win alone. They were stronger than I had anticipated. Together, they posed a serious threat, and without my sister's unwavering commitment to the darkness, I wasn't operating at full strength. I needed them by my side to secure victory. The safety of my mate and children hung in the balance. Caroline seemed to sense my turmoil as she shouted my name, declaring she was coming to help. "Stay back!" I roared. "Do not come near here." It was far too dangerous for her, especially while she was pregnant. I wouldn't allow her anywhere near this chaos. "Scared?" one of them taunted. "This is just the beginning. We have plenty in store for you, Rain." My jaw tightened. The only thing I feared was losing my mate and children. Nothing else could instill such terror in me. If they thought I was intimidated by them, they were far more foolish than I had initially believed. With a primal roar, I unleashed my darkness in greater waves, forcing them to retreat slightly. Their expressions shifted, clearly displeased that I had nearly knocked them off balance. I had calculated that attack, intending to test their strength. I needed to provoke them further, to gauge just how much preparation this fight required. Just then, something icy struck me from behind, a sharp ice sculpture in the shape of a sword. For a few brief moments, I froze, shocked at my own negligence. How could I have let their attack get so close? Pain shot through my body from the impact. "Brother!" my sisters cried out as blood poured from my mouth, the force of the blow nearly overwhelming me. It felt as if I had been stabbed repeatedly with jagged crystals. Before I could retaliate, another barrage hit my back at blinding speed. I heard Caroline's piercing scream. How did I miscalculate that attack? Why hadn't I seen it coming? My body was hurled toward my sisters, and I grimaced as my back slammed against the ground. Caroline dropped beside me, her hand gently cradling my face as tears fell onto my cheek. "He must die!" Dash exclaimed, reveling in what he believed to be an impending victory, far too early. He didn't understand that this battle was just beginning for me. Autumn knelt beside me, holding my hand. "Tell me, brother, what must we do to stand with you? How can we embrace the darkness?" "No," I coughed, knowing that was the last thing they should do. I understood the consequences of surrendering to the darkness fully. There was a grave risk they wouldn't return to who they were, just as I hadn't. "I can handle this myself." "Right, like if you can." Clarissa snapped back. "We're helping you. There's no way we're just going to stand back and watch them treat you like a punch bag without intervening." Damn. A punch bag? Was that how I appeared out there? I didn't want my mate thinking I was weak or incapable of fighting for her and our children. I had to get back out there and retaliate. The overlords were still standing strong while I lay vulnerable on my back. That wasn't how this should be. I was frustrated. Finally facing defeat in a fight was foreign to me. They had clearly trained for my arrival. "Please, let us help you," Caroline pleaded. "You have to accept their assistance. This is what you've wanted, that we would stand by your side. Why deny it now?" Because I was scared. Terrified, in fact. The moment I felt my true power alongside my sisters, I feared I wouldn't want to relinquish it. I worried that I would choose the dark side over the life Caroline had shown me. I had longed for this support, but now I questioned the consequences it might bring. Yet the overlords weren't giving me much choice. My mate was right. I needed my sisters if I intended to finish this. "Give me your hands," I instructed them. "We need to share our blood." As the darkness lay waiting within me, it could easily flow into them through our shared blood. It would awaken something deep within all of us. "They are joining," I hear one of the overlords shout in a panic. I sense a fierce flame racing toward us from the ground, but the darkness protects us from its strike. Autumn and Clarissa screamed as our blood mingled together. I could already feel my strength surging just a few seconds in. I knew the moment the ritual reached its end. Autumn's eyes were dark, and so were Clarissa's. I hated putting them through this. They were innocent, devoid of the tormenting voices that plagued my mind. But now, that was about to change, as we united our powers. Without their consent, this transformation wouldn't have been possible. I could hear the dark laughter echoing in my head, celebrating our newfound bond. Together, we were more formidable than our father ever was. I noticed the fear in the eyes of the overlords as I slowly approached them, my sisters right behind me. They were about to witness a frightening side of me that no one had ever seen before. "Caroline!" A chill ran down my spine as I watched my mate and his sisters approach the overlords. I could sense their fear. They understood that the darkness had just unleashed its full power. For a brief moment, I questioned whether I had made a mistake by bringing Cassius and his sisters together. Though I had never feared him before, I had to admit that this version of him was the most intimidating I had ever seen. I wouldn't want to be on the opposite side of the reins today. It was far too late for the overlords. They had their chance to retreat, but chose to attack my mate and our children instead. The time for mercy had long passed. I realized this side of Cassius was an inherent part of him, and that thought scared me the most. Power radiated from him in such waves that the overlords blinked in disbelief as he moved closer to them. "You had your chance." Cassius spoke in a deep, commanding voice. "Now it's our turn. Sisters, take my hands." I watched as they joined together, their hands still stained with blood. In that moment, it felt as if Cassius was no longer the one in control, and a fresh wave of fear swept over me. I had encountered the darkness before, and while I knew it was much tougher to deal with than Cassius, it didn't feel as daunting as it did now. It was stronger and hungrier for revenge than ever. I could hear them chanting words that seemed to transcend my understanding, hints of a language or spells their father had known. Whatever it was, it only added to the intimidation. The overlords unleashed flames and icy attacks at them, but nothing hit. Every strike bounced off Cassius, as if he were wrapped in an invisible shield. I gasped as I witnessed a tornado of darkness rise from the ground, swallowing the overlords whole. Their panicked screams echoed as they struggled to hold on to one another, but failed miserably. Cassius and his sisters continued their chanting, and soon more tornadoes appeared, this time fueled by fire and water. It was a sight unlike anything I had ever witnessed. The overlords didn't stand a chance against them. Honestly, I wasn't sure who, if anyone, could contend with them in this state, as they wreaked havoc in every direction. "What the hell is happening?" Atticus demanded as he joined me. It wasn't just him. Damon, Dante, and the rest of the family had gathered as well. "Why does Clarissa look like she's possessed?" Damon says, disbelief evident in his voice. They were both shocked to see their mates transform like this. "They've embraced the darkness," I say softly, aware that my words might stir their fears. "The darkness?" Willow gasps. "No, this isn't good, Caroline. Why would you allow them to do this?" "We had no other choice," I explain. "The overlords would have hurt Cassius and done the same to our children if Autumn and Clarissa hadn't joined forces with their brother." I could see the moment they all grasped that we truly had no alternatives. Atticus ran a hand through his hair, frustration evident. "Damn it, I need to get in there." "No," I replied firmly. "If you try, you could get hurt easily. Look around. There are hundreds of tornadoes filled with darkness, fire, and water. It's too risky." The screams of the overlords hauntingly filled the air. They should have backed off when they had the chance. "Should we just stand here and do nothing?" Damon demands, panic rising in his voice. "We have no idea if they're safe in there." I could see the anxiety etched on their faces, and while I also worried for the love of my life, I trusted that he had everything under control. They all instinctively shielded me when an explosion rocked the ground. The sound echoed far and wide as I covered my ears. When I opened my eyes, I was stunned to see the overlord's entire palace reduced to rubble. "Pfft," Dante growls as we all stare in disbelief. "They took it down in seconds," Willow gasps, her eyes wide. As the smoke began to clear, revealing the scene before me, I felt paralyzed with horror at the sight of all the overlords lying motionless on the ground. I covered my mouth in shock. They were all gone, every single one of them. My heart raced as I scanned the area for my mate and his sisters, praying they hadn't suffered the same fate. When I spotted Cassius, my heart sank at the dark look in his eyes. It was clear he was no longer in control. Autumn and Clarissa wore the same expression. All three had lost themselves completely. This was not good at all. "If they keep this up, they might destroy everything in their path," I gasp, remembering my mother's warnings over the years. Once the darkness takes full control, it doesn't stop wreaking havoc. Without a second thought, I dashed toward Cassius before he could teleport away. Atticus and Damon were also running toward their mates while shouting their names. I lost sight of them as I flung myself into Cassius's arms. He stiffened beneath my embrace. I knew that if he were in his right mind, he would insist that I leave, but I had no intention of going anywhere. I wouldn't let the darkness consume him. All he needed was my love to help him find his way back. "Cassius," I cry, desperation lacing my voice. "Please, come back to me. Don't lose control. I need you. The fight is over. It is over. I am safe now. Our babies are safe because of you. You protected us. You do not need to keep fighting." I was trying to find the right words to convince him that we were safe now and that nothing could harm us anymore. He didn't need to keep fighting or destroying anything else. I gasp when I feel him begin to pull away. No, I would not let him leave like this. "No!" I shout as I tighten my grip around his neck. I was not about to let go, not today, not ever. "Cassius, let her go." The voice whispers in my head, urging me to cast aside any distraction. If I want to protect my children, I must clear everything from my path. no matter the cost. Cassius, I hear my mate's desperate call. Please listen to me. Our babies need you. I need you. We can't survive without you. You did this to protect us, so please don't let the darkness pull you under now. The war is over. We're safe. You saved us. Don't pay her any mind. The day you've been waiting for has finally arrived. You are united with your sisters, and together there's no one more powerful than the three of you. This is your chance to finish what your father began. Don't let anyone stand in your way. Please. Caroline's voice shakes as she showers my face with kisses. Don't abandon me now, not when I need you the most. Damn it, I have to fight this. I can't let it take control. Your sisters need you too, she whispers. This is the first time the darkness has taken over them. They have no experience with it. They need your guidance to avoid losing themselves completely. Please, Cassius, don't let the darkness swallow you. Why is it so damn hard to resist this time? Why is the voice growing louder and more insistent? Suddenly, she gasps and grabs my hand, placing it on her belly. I swear I felt something, a little flutter. It's our babies, Cassius. They need you to stop this. They're telling you that they want their father. Please don't abandon them like your father did to you. Don't chase after the wrong things when your family is here, waiting for you. No way. I can't ever leave them. This is my family. My mate is right. I can't feel the movements she does, but the fact that she can feel something is enough to remind me that our love created life. We've both found something worth fighting for, something to live for. I love you, Cassius. She cries. You don't even need to say it back. I just want the real you back in my life. I can't lose you, and I don't want you to lose yourself either. Her tears on my chest feel like a splash of cold water. No, the voice screams, panicking as I begin to regain control. Keep fighting it. Your mate needs you. I roar and drop to the ground, battling against it. I refuse to give up on this life. I finally have a chance at happiness with my new family. I have my mate. We're expecting triplets, and I'm starting to build a relationship with my sisters. I've found what I didn't have in the past, and I won't trade it for anything, not even the dreams I once desired. Cassius, Caroline gasps, dropping to the ground beside me. What's wrong? Talk to me, please. I pull her close, burying my face in her neck as I fight to regain control. I can hear the darkness screaming in defeat, but I won't let it distract me from my mate. Then suddenly I'm filled with a calming silence that I haven't had in a long, long time. This was all my mate's doing. I love you, I whisper, finally mustering the courage to say what my heart has been shouting for so long. I love you, Caroline. I love you so much. I hear her tiny gasp as tears flood her cheeks. You love me? How could she even doubt it? After everything we've faced together, she should know how real my love is. Yes, I say, pressing my lips against her neck. I love you more than words could ever express. When everyone else saw a monster in me, you saw the good beneath the surface. You made me believe I was worthy when I felt like there was nothing left. You showed me happiness in ways no one else has ever done. I'm forever grateful to you, Caroline, for giving me the life I thought I didn't deserve. Tears continue to stream down her face as she pulls me into another hug before crashing her lips onto mine in a passionate kiss. I want to lose myself in this moment, but I know my sisters need my help to overcome the darkness. I remember my first experience with it. It was chaotic, and I hurt anything that crossed my path. I can't let them face that fate. They'd never forgive themselves. I helped Caroline to her feet and rushed towards my sisters. Their mates held onto them tightly, trying to bring them back to their senses. Give them to me, I urge Atticus and Damon. They hesitate, their faces clouded with doubt. I promise I won't harm them. I'm only here to help, I assure them. Though they still seem reluctant, they have no choice but to accept my assistance. They don't know what to do in this situation. I take my sister's hands in mine and repeat the words I learned before that helped me regain control. Within moments, their eyes brighten, returning to their normal hues. As soon as they're back to their senses, they rush to embrace their mates. Caroline looks at me, her expression filled with pride. My sisters come running to me next without any warning, throwing their arms around me in a tight embrace. I was left in shock for a few moments by their unexpected affection. Slowly, I lifted my arms and hugged them back. We did it, Clarissa exclaimed as she turned around. However, her eyes widened when she noticed the motionless overlords. She gasps, "Did we actually do this? They didn't leave you much choice?" Caroline reminded them somberly. "I hate that it had to come to this, but they ignored all the warnings." Autumn's face displayed a mix of terror and disbelief. I could see they had not wanted things to escalate this way. They were unaccustomed to such drastic actions, while for me, it felt all too familiar. "Luthice!" Caroline gasps upon spotting him approaching from a distance. His body was battered and bruised, clearly having been in the building when it collapsed. Upon seeing the overlords lying motionless, he was struck with shock. He dropped to his knees beside them, regret washing over his features. "I let this happen," he murmurs. "It's all my fault. They are all dead because of me. I knew he helped my mate escape. She told me this at the very start of the battle. He must blame himself for what happened to the rest of them." "No, it isn't," my mate interjected, trying to soothe him. "This isn't your fault. Everyone tried to warn them, but they refused to listen." The young boy appeared torn by her words. "Come on," Autumn urges him. "We need to get you home." "No," he halted her. "They taught me what to do if anything ever happened to them, and I was the last one left. I have to collect each of their amulets and pass them to someone I believe is worthy of becoming an overlord. I can't just leave them like this. I am the last surviving overlord. I have to do my duties." He had formed a bond with the others. They had a powerful brotherhood, and this would undoubtedly leave scars on his heart. Over time, wounds may heal, but the process wouldn't be easy. "We need to help him," Caroline pleaded with me. While this wasn't my problem, I felt a deep sense of gratitude. This man saved my mate and children. He had saved my life in a way. I nod. "We will help." As for whoever would take on the mantle of overlords next, I hoped they would make wiser choices moving forward, decisions that would protect them from facing the same fate as these men all lying motionless on the ground. "Caroline." We spent hours helping Luthice gather the bodies of the other overlords and collecting their amulets. Now that Luthice was in charge of selecting the new overlords, I hoped the new ones would be nothing like the previous regime. They made a terrible mistake that cost them their lives. As we finally returned home to the fawns, relief washed over me. I wasn't sure how long this peace would last, knowing there would always be those who felt threatened by my mate and his sisters. They would likely try to drive a wedge between us, but I didn't mind. As long as we had each other, I believed we could face whatever challenges came our way. "What a day," Clarissa murmurs as she sank onto the couch. "You're back." Griffin greets us with a smile, although concern shadows his expression when he notices how exhausted we all look. "I'm guessing it was a tough day. Sorry I had to miss out." "Oh, right," Dante chimes in. "You stayed behind with your mate since she can't leave the house, considering her brothers can't know she's hiding here with us." Griffin groans, running a hand over his face. "That's not my only problem. Brianna is returning tomorrow from her trip, and I haven't told either of them about the other." I frown and glance at Autumn, who simply smiles at my confusion. Brianna is Griffin's girlfriend. He hasn't mentioned that his mate, who's also staying here, exists. As you can imagine, that disclosure isn't going to go over well. I couldn't blame Brianna for being upset, since I would also be upset if I were in her shoes. I also wondered how Griffin's mate would react when she found out he had a girlfriend. It was all quite a tangled mess from what I've heard so far. "Let's move on from my issues," Griffin says as he settles down next to us. "Tell me what happened. How did you defeat the overlords?" We spent the next hour filling Griffin in on everything that had transpired. Afterward, I left Autumn and the others to talk while I followed my mate outside. I craved some privacy with him. We hadn't had a moment to ourselves since the battle. The instant we stepped into the garden, Cassius wrapped his arms around my waist and pulled me onto his lap as he sat on one of the benches. My cheeks flushed from his boldness. "What are you doing?" I gasp. "Bringing my woman and our babies closer to me," he growls. "You've been too far away for hours. I've been impatiently waiting for this." My face heated at his words. This side of Cassius felt so new, and it would take time for me to get used to it. Not that I was complaining. I wrapped my arms around his neck, resting my head against his chest. I can't believe this is real. I thought you would leave and abandon us the moment I told you I was pregnant and wanted to keep our babies. Giving up our children was never something I would consider. I can see the surprise and anguish in his face from my confession. I'm sorry for ever suggesting anything so foolish, Caroline, he growls, regret evident in his eyes. I know I could never give them up. I thought it was for their safety, but I see now they'll have better lives with us. I don't want to repeat my mother's mistakes. I nod, understanding. I see that now, Cassius. I was foolish to think you didn't want our babies. I should have realized you only wanted to protect them. He pulled me closer, placing a hand on my belly. These babies are ours, and they have bright futures ahead of them. I plan to spend my life protecting you and them. No matter what comes our way, Caroline, as long as I have you, I can handle anything. His words warmed my heart. I know it isn't over, I whisper. I know we will face many enemies who will only grow stronger with time. I'm scared I might lose you to them. I don't want anything to happen to you or our babies. His gaze darkens at the possibility of that happening. Nothing in this world could ever separate me from you, Caroline. I'm ready to fight even death to be by your side for as long as we both breathe. I knew he meant it, and it eased my worries about our future. Can you believe we were once meant to kill each other? I asked with a chuckle, still in shock with the way our lives have turned out. And now here I am, deeply in love with you and carrying your babies. His eyes sparkles with a light I hadn't seen before. I didn't know it was possible to love someone like this, Caroline. You are the only person in this entire universe for whom I would give up everything, even the dream that I once thought I needed to fulfill. Now you're my dream. The moment I realized that, nothing else mattered but keeping you safe and making you completely mine. I leaned in to kiss him, and he tightened his arms around me, deepening the kiss. I can't wait to hold our children in my arms, he admitted between kisses. I can feel his love for me pouring out of him in great waves. Thank you, Caroline, for reminding me what it means to be happy. Thank you for never giving up on me when everyone else thought the worst. Thank you for trusting me and for giving me a chance. I'm the luckiest man alive to have a mate like you. I bury my hands in his hair, suddenly feeling an intense need for him. I love you, Cassius. Please, take me back to your place and make love to me. I need you more than ever to soothe the ache inside me. I wasn't sure what had come over me. Maybe it was the pregnancy hormones, whatever it was. I was ready to climb onto my mate and have my way with him. Cassius growls low and rough. He doesn't need to be told twice as he gets me out of the garden and into his bedroom. As he lays me onto his bed, I feel my body practically melt against his strong hold. Before I knew it, both of our bodies were sweaty and intertwined, completely joined as one. We were at it for hours, in fact. Even I didn't think it was possible to make love so many times at once. I love you, Caroline, he says against my neck. I promise to love you for the rest of my life. I didn't know what our future had in store for us, but after the battle we'd faced today, I knew that there was nothing we couldn't handle together. As long as Cassius was by my side, we would be okay. We all would. He was all we would ever need. The end. A.N. Hi, my beautiful readers. We have come to an end of yet another one of my stories. If you have made it this far, thank you so much for your continued support. I am forever grateful to every single one of you for being here since the beginning of my writing journey. You have made this such a beautiful experience for me, and I can't thank you enough for still supporting me even at times where I don't update as quickly as you'd like. I hope you enjoyed this story and it was to your expectations. Up next is Griffin and Elsa's story. Synopsis: Elsa Cage ran away from home, eager to start anew, free from her brother's pressure to enter an arranged marriage with a man she did not love. However, fate had other plans in store when she unexpectedly discovered her mate during her escape. Initially thrilled at the prospect of being with him, Elsa soon faced a significant hurdle. Griffin Fawn already had a girlfriend, Brianna Adams, who had been his best friend for years. It was clear to Elsa that Brianna was deeply in love with Griffin. Torn between her feelings and the desire to give them a chance, Elsa made the difficult decision to keep her distance. Yet, staying away from one's mate proved to be a monumental challenge, and the closer she got to Griffin, the harder it became to ignore the emotions simmering inside her. Here is a sneak peek. Elsa, I've definitely had too much to drink. I should have stopped after the second bottle. I felt dizzy and vulnerable, and the only person in front of me was the one I promised myself to avoid, Griffin Fawn, my mate, and Brianna's boyfriend. Elsa? I hear Griffin's anxious voice as he surveys the situation. He shouldn't be here, especially not while I'm in this state. Please, just leave me alone, I plead. I needed him to go before I let my feelings slip out. What? He asks as he takes hold of my arm to steady me. I can't just walk away. You're clearly intoxicated and don't know what you're doing. I gasp, nearly tripping on my long dress and tumbling into his arms. His scent, a blend of his cologne and something uniquely him, only adds to my dizziness. No. Elsa? Please stop saying my name like that, I beg. There's a long pause before he finally asks, why? Confusion laces his voice. Why don't you want me to say your name? Because I have feelings for you, I blurt out, surprised by my own honesty. I know I shouldn't, but I can't ignore them. You're my mate and always so close to me. I can't deny these feelings no matter how hard I try. The heavy silence that follows lets me know that Griffin doesn't share my feelings. I wasn't surprised. I was fully aware that his heart already belonged to Brianna. Elsa, he whisperingly replies, I'm sorry. I had no idea you felt this way. I have a girlfriend, and I love her. I can't. Please, just stop, I implore. I can't bear to hear this right now. I push him away and rush toward a stranger's car, desperate to put as much distance between us as I can. The pain of unrequited feelings is too much to handle. Elsa, Griffin calls out, worry thick in his voice. Ignore it. He's not meant to be yours, as he's just confirmed. It's time to move on. End.